All right, we are live. Hello, everybody, and welcome to episode 9 of Ham Radio Live. We hope you're having a fantastic week, and we are looking forward to capping it off in spectacular fashion. As always, I'm joined by Mr. Paul Lombardo. Paul, you're smiling in the thumbnail, so I can only assume you're doing well today. But I'm going to ask anyway. How are you?
Yeah, I'm doing well. I'm a little tired because it's been a really intensive week. Yesterday, I had to wake up at like 7, and then my car broke down in the middle of the road. It was a mess. So, no, I'm tired, but I feel like smiling. I just wanted to put a little smile out there because I haven't
Yeah,
smiled on any. I'm not a big cheese guy. You're a big like cheesy like smile, you know? Not
I
me.
admit that. Yeah, no, you're right. I
But
definitely have the cheesy.
I wouldn't say cheesy, more so like big cheese.
I have I
Not
have I
cheesy,
have
but
an unnecessarily big smile, so I have no option but like I look like a psychopath serial killer if I smile like something's about to go
yeah.
down if I'm smiling with my mouth closed.
Yeah, I'm trying to shift to the more open smile. It's a more confident look, you know.
Yeah, no,
But
dude, you
so
look great.
yeah, no. So
Oh, you know.
I do
That's the confidence we're looking for. Okay, no.
exactly.
I was like,
You
shit,
know,
man.
cool.
Okay. Keep going.
I'm confident. I'm ready to go. But yeah, no, I'm feeling tired, but I'm ready to jump into the podcast.
Excellent. Yeah, we certainly have, as always, a lot to go over on this week's episode. We appreciate those of you who are joining us for this episode. If I'm slow on any super chats or anything during our live segments here, just know it's because I left my laptop at home, which usually keeps track of all the analytics as we are live. So that's just for the live listeners. For those of you hearing the archive version, just thank you so much for lending us some of your time here on a Sunday, or in the case of live listeners, Friday. That's the fun part about these staggered releases. You can never use a date. Anyway, for those of you who want to catch us live, we are available every single Friday, 6 p.m. Eastern Time on youtube.com/MrMattyPlays. You can also hear us on many audio platforms. I was checking some of our audio reviews, Paul. We're doing quite well. We're sitting at 4.8 stars. I would like to get that to 4.9. So a couple of 5-star reviews will get us over the hump. Just putting it out there
I
for the
think
audience. I think it's possible, yeah?
yeah, no, we can definitely do it. 4.8. I'm happy with that.
Mm-hmm.
I would have expected less when I first
I would have
started this show.
expected less. We were at like 4.2 for a while because we had like one
Oh,
3-star review, one 5-star. So we were just sitting, and I think we had one 4-star. Like we were sitting in a really weird spot. I was like, that's a little too low. We got to work on that. So
we've
we're
been
doing
bumping
well.
it up.
Yeah, we definitely
We're
have
good
been.
up there.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm proud of us. We're doing well here. Gonna pat ourselves on the back here. Also, for those who don't know and are tuning in for the first time, because our listener counts have been going up quite a bit. This is a live show, which means that we are going to be taking live call-ins. So if you want to participate in that, we do live call-ins at the beginning and end of our show. We like to talk with the audience. We just ask one thing. We never really have mentioned this until now because we wanted to see how it went. We've been collecting feedback. All I ask and all Paul asks, please come prepared with a topic or a question or something in mind that all three of us can discuss together. It's the only thing we want to ask of you. It's not to say that anyone's done a bad job beforehand. It's just feedback we've collected from the audience listening to the archive version that some seem aimless, some seem like they drag on a little bit. So I'm just going to ask for the audience who's ready to call in, come prepared. We're willing to talk with you for however long it takes, but just come a little bit more prepared. It's the only thing that I've seen in the feedback, and I think it would be a good thing for all of us. So that's one thing I just wanted to make note of. But otherwise, you could join through the Patreon. You'll be linked to our Discord, and it's there that we can sit down and we can talk with some of you. We try to pick new names whenever we see them. So if you join up and you just want to talk with us for 1 week, you have a high likelihood of getting that selection. Just know that. It's not like people are breaking down our doors right now, fortunately.
Yeah, no, and also that's on us, right? We didn't make it clear enough that you want to come in with a
Yes.
question because we kind of made it a little lenient. So people don't understand like we got to have some sort of topic, right? Something to jump into. So just other than that, everybody's been great.
Yeah, because we don't want to enforce strictly or heavily because we don't want anyone to be nervous coming in here. Like we're
Yeah.
very open, free. Like talk about whatever the hell you want. We're cool with it. We just want to make sure that we now lay down a small guidelines. Just come with a topic in mind, and don't worry, we will ease you along if you're nervous or anything. And if you don't like to do that, that's fine. That's why we have write-ins and we read all of those every week. So we appreciate your participation, whichever way you decide to do so. Thank you so much for that. And now, Paul, I think we've got enough of that out of the way. Let's talk about what we're playing here.
We have been playing a lot of Halo Infinite, man.
Yes, that'll
That's
be the bulk of it, huh?
honestly, that's pretty much other than Animal Crossing Happy Home Designer, which I've already talked about on this show like twice now, would actually I haven't talked about Happy Home Designer as much because I'm gonna be honest, I'm having way more fun with it than I thought I would.
Mm.
I play it like with my girlfriend, and she'll play at the same time. And what we'll do is we'll have like these little mini contests who can design a house better.
Oh, that's cool.
Because Animal Crossing normally you have to collect all your furniture, your resources to build furniture, your wallpapers, blah blah blah. But in Happy Home Designer, they just give you a set and they say, okay, do what you want, and it gets like ranked, and you get money, and you can use that to buy furniture for your island.
Hmm.
So I've been playing it a lot more, and I'm surprised because I didn't expect it to be as fun as it is. And that's probably because I was going into it with the mindset that it would be the same as like decorating my house in base game Animal Crossing. So other than that, I've been playing Halo Infinite, which is God, it's so fun.
Yeah,
It has to be like one of the best shooters released in years, like for sure.
absolutely. I agree
And
entirely. It's funny. Last week we were sitting there live together, breaking down whether or not
yeah,
this thing would actually happen, would it actually come out, and now it's funny to be on the other side, one episode later, going, "Oh, it's here and it's so good."
yeah, yeah. No, we that was crazy how that was all almost unraveling as the show was happening.
Yeah,
But
that's what I was so excited about with that episode. Is that's kind of what I imagine is there will be episodes where we're gonna have that lightning in a bottle, like, oh
yeah,
shit, it's happening right now as we're here. And so yeah, that was a ton of fun separately.
yeah, that's something you can't really get with a normal show. With live, you get that reaction. You can see the audience getting hyped. We had like, I think our last show was definitely the highest view count we've had.
Yeah, we passed
It
500.
was,
That was crazy.
yeah, it was crazy and it was a ton of fun. But Halo Infinite, the only problem I have with it, everybody else has with it. I wrote a feature on it. You made a video. Is the progression system? But we're gonna talk about that a lot.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, and we could talk, I'd say, more generally about the game itself,
yeah,
because the shooting, the movement, the pickups, everything about this is as expected, really. When you played the flights, you had a really good feeling about it. That was with the bots. Then you got into PvP. You're like, okay, I'm feeling a little bit better about this. There's a good balance with this game. Like, it's one of the few shooters I've picked up and went, I don't know if I get anything and go, oh, this is broken. Like, this is...
hmm
There's like even something such as a skewer. You go, okay, this is a one-shot kill, but I need to make sure that I hit them in the chest at least. And if I miss, this reload time is pretty long. So I feel like the balancing is so underappreciated in this game
hmm
because it's a piece of what is a much more complex puzzle. But for me, I think of Call of Duty where you find the broken SMG day one and everyone's running around with it. You don't really
yeah,
have that in this game, right? Like every weapon is situational. Like your AR, your starter weapon is competent. Like you can get around with that if you really need to. Your pistol
hmm
is also good for medium range and
I
finishing
love the
off.
pistol.
Yeah, it's
It's so
awesome.
fun.
I love the balance of it. It's so nice, man. What has been your favorite weapon to find though on the note of balance?
So I wanted to say the commando, but I was playing like right before the show, and I was kind of doing ass with the commando. So I think it's called the Mauler. We were talking about it. It's like a sniper rifle pistol. It's
Yeah.
insane. It's
Yeah.
so cool.
I think it's the Mangler. I think it's Mangler.
Mangler. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, that weapon.
Yes.
It's definitely my favorite pickup. I feel like I'm playing almost. I almost feel like I'm playing Destiny. Hand cannons in Destiny.
Yeah. Yeah.
Those are like the vibes it gives me. It's just so fun to run around and like, bah bah bah.
Yeah. It's a great feeling.
Besides that, I do like the skewer a lot, but I actually have been liking the shock rifle.
Mm.
Getting those like one-shot headshots with it is just so fun, and I find it's easier to get a no scope with the shock rifle than it is the normal sniper.
Hmm.
I don't know if that's true or not, but I was just popping off in ranked last night when we both played competitive with the shock rifle.
Yeah. Yeah. We got to shout that out because we were playing,
Yeah,
we got a squad of like 6 of us together and we start playing big team battle. And that was a ton of fun on its own. But eventually the vehicles, the chaos, I do think it can fatigue you. And
hmm
that's really with any multiplayer where you want to settle things down and strip some of, I think, the extra bombastic emergent gameplay out and go for something a little bit more contained. And that's where you get ranked arena, where we were like doing call outs. We were sweating. Let's be real. But that shit was
yeah,
so fun, man. Like it felt so much better to win. It felt like when I died, it wasn't, eventually I started to get annoyed because I was going for challenges at the same time as playing big team battle. And that's just not a good
hmm
mixture. Because you're
yeah,
just going to die way more than you have to, and you're going to fumble the objective way more than you have to. But Otherwise, Arena has been the superstar for me personally. Would you say that's the same for you?
Yeah, for sure. It's sort of what you're saying, like with the challenges, right? In big team battle, I am focused on winning, but I want to progress in my battle pass, which is like a whole nother problem.
Mhm.
It has like really bad challenges, although they did fix some of them and made them a lot easier. But when I'm playing a competitive Slayer, I'm not even thinking about them. We're just focusing on the victory.
Right.
So we got our call outs. We're getting really sweaty, getting mad at each other. It's so fun. And you were saying it reminded you of Overwatch, and I didn't get those vibes because I just think Overwatch is like a totally different game. But I do understand if you played competitive Overwatch, like that sort of wanting to win, like that
Yes.
competitiveness. I don't feel that as much when I'm like casually playing big team battle or even like in COD or something.
Yeah.
So it's cool that they have like that game mode that offers that sort of experience, and it's really fun.
What did you think of the playlist that was offered to us? We have quick play, big team battle, ranked arena. You can't select individual modes, so we got stuck with like
Yeah,
that power seed mode, which
dude,
oh god,
no.
yeah,
There's a lot of problems with Halo Infinite for as good as it is, but the good part is that the foundation right there is perfect. Like the
yes,
movement, the gunplay, you got good weapons, good vehicles, everything's solid. But then you have some of the maps are like, I don't know, some of them are really good, and then a few of them are like they don't really fit. Especially the nighttime map. I don't remember what it's called, but you know what I'm speaking about.
LifeLock maybe. I don't know. I know which one
It's
you're
the
talking about.
big team battle night map. When you're playing that one with the power cells, it's just not
Sucks.
fun. The
Yeah,
power cells game mode is ass.
yeah,
But then you get capture the flag and it's like 10 times more fun.
yeah.
So I think if Halo Infinite needs to like what they need to focus on is obviously the progression, but that I feel as if that's more easy than anything because it's progression. I don't know.
Mhm.
I don't know how they fumbled the bag with that because
Yeah.
how many first person shooters have done that in the past and just it's not even something people really bring up that much unless it's egregious and it focuses on microtransactions.
Yeah, our
But
good friend Tyler pointed out with the progression is they just tried to reinvent a wheel that didn't need to be
yeah,
reinvented.
exactly.
It was like, look, I get it. You guys are trying new things. And that's the thing we could say about the power seed mode. It's like, okay, cool, they're trying new things. But there's certain things like standard multiplayer progression which just works. Like it's fine. It doesn't need to
hmm
be reinvented.
Yeah, I mean like one thing I haven't seen people saying a lot with Halo Infinite. There's no rank. There's no like level 1, level 2. No, it's just your battle pass.
Hmm.
There's the battle pass is the only ranking system in the game. And I don't know if that's a beta thing, if that'll I think it will be changed eventually, but I don't even know if it'll be changed at launch. It it doesn't incentivize you for getting doing good, only for
Yeah.
completing the challenges.
Yeah, I will say though that they got on some of these changes we're going to talk about soon pretty quick. Like I think a lot of people. I remember I was talking to Cog on Defining Duke. I'm going to look forward to catching his thoughts again because he said like I've been here before. They're not going to be giving us much until the end of the season, and I wonder if
Mm.
now with the rework challenge system, if that's where if this was enough for him or not. But I don't know. I thought it was going to be launch day, the official launch day, right? We're in beta right now, sure.
Right.
But like the
Yeah,
actual launch
exactly.
day, I think that's when we're going to see the more substantial changes because they said, hey, there's more robust updates coming. So they plan on adding more. I think right now I think it's two separate things that they're working on. I feel like they have changes for the battle pass that are going to make that better. And then I think they have a whole separate progression system that they're working on that's going to give you like your own individual level. And I don't know if anything's going to be tied to that other than the level. But that's a whole separate conversation, I guess.
Yeah, there's a lot to be said about Halo Infinite's current state, but like you said, it's in beta, even
Yeah.
though it's pretty much a soft launch. Like they
Hmm.
just dropped the game.
Hmm.
I'm not expecting a lot of changes on campaign launch. Honestly, I'm
Okay.
not, but I'm hoping that there will be. I'm more so seeing like 2022 is when they hammer down like, okay, we got to figure out what's going on. We got to
Right.
make sure this is perfect because I think what's in Halo Infinite right now with like the challenge tweaks and stuff can hold people off until the end of 2021, especially with campaign coming.
Hmm. That's actually interesting because I never checked the list here, but Hallberry wrote in the chat that there's an achievement regarding an elimination mode. So I like to think that that'll be happening at launch. So that's a little interesting catch there. I wonder if they're actually going to be adding new modes on top of it because we're already getting our first event Fractured
Mhm.
next week by the time our listeners are hearing this on free
But it's a
feeds.
beta.
Yeah, but it's the beta. Yeah, I mean, look, It's mostly there. I think they're calling it as sort of a placeholder. Because I remember when I was critiquing the Battle Pass, I just straight up put on Twitter, I was like, this sucks ass. People are like, it's a beta, bro. Relax. I'm like, the game's out in like 3 fucking weeks.
The
Stop.
beta already happened. It's called the flight test.
It just, it went gold, all right? It's done. It's done.
Yeah, this is the game.
Yeah.
And now they're going to change it, which is good. But
absolutely,
this is the game. This is the launch game.
Yeah. On a side note, I'd definitely like to talk about the campaign a little bit more because I did, as of the time of this going live, I did launch impressions for the campaign on my channel. And I just wanted to share what I spoke about there on a little bit more of an extended thought. So I played the first 4 missions of Halo Infinite's campaign, thanks to Xbox. And I got to see some linear stuff. I got to see some open world stuff. And I'm very interested to see how all of this develops because a lot of people were worried if this was going to be like Far Cry Halo. And I think Halo, if you play Combat Evolved, and I just went back and played all of the games for the MCC as well as Halo 5. And when you go back to Combat Evolved, like there was a sense of openness that was there that fit the series very well. Like it's not this randomly slapped on thing for relevance. It does feel like it fits because there is history there. And so when I was exploring the open world, you had stuff like going to banished outposts. You could collect audio logs, which are a part of these banished outposts. There were forward operating bases you could clear out, which I'll get into in a sec because that's like the core of the open world stuff. And then there were high value targets. So like special ranked elites, hunters, special ranked ungoys, all this stuff that you could just hunt down in the open world. And they would have like variants of weapons. Like you get a white plasma pistol, a red energy sword, this type of cool stuff that you could unlock as you played. They didn't do anything different. They just looked different, which is very Skyrim-y, if you will, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, you know, except Skyrim did a good job of putting new effects on weapons, but sometimes they'd just be renamed iron swords, for example. And so the open world gameplay was good enough for me to be like, I like this. I'm not worried anymore. But I don't know if it was good enough, and I won't know this until I beat the full thing, to say, like, yeah, this is the future of the series. Like, this is going to be where Halo should go. And the reason I don't pull the trigger on that, where I've seen a lot of previewers really going full send on it, is because, number one, I don't know if the environmental variety will be there that you see in any Halo campaign. Like even what is considered the worst one, Halo 5, had great variety in its environments. At least I thought, right? Like you're going underneath the tunnels, it's dark, you go into Sangilios. I mean, there's so much variety there. Halo 4, less so. A lot of Forerunners mixed with Pacific Northwest stuff. There's something with 343 and their obsession with the Pacific Northwest, I assume. But yeah, they've done a good job so far. I like it. I'm not in love with it, but I like it. It's fun. The sandbox gameplay from the multiplayer lends itself to the campaign. So at bare minimum, campaign's fun. I think there's going to be a lot of secrets tucked away in the areas we can explore, which is really exciting because I think a lot of people are going to find stuff hidden about. As for the Banished, seems like a good villain so far as a faction, I should say. We saw them in Halo Wars 2, but to get them more up close and personal and intimate with them was nice. And I think it's a nice carryover there. But I will say make sure you play Halo Wars 2 if you are interested at all in Halo Infinite, especially its story, because there is a lot there early on that is referenced that you should be aware of, or at least watch a recap of some kind. But that's kind of the too long didn't read in my preview. Overall, to extend that, if you had any questions, Paul, I guess that came to your mind while I was talking about it that I could answer. I'm for that, but I do have more to say for sure.
I was just thinking about the varied environments because when we were playing the multiplayer, I know I was thinking a lot of this is just more of the same. The maps are different, but for the most part, a lot of the maps are very similar in the environments. It's sort of like the Halo ring, where you just have like some sort of installation you're on, not necessarily Forerunner, just whether it be like UNSC or I guess Banished. So when I see the campaign, I didn't watch your preview or anybody's because I'm already sold on the game. I'm going in, so I don't want to. I wouldn't say spoil, but I just don't need to see anymore. I already know I'm going to play it. But what I've seen from like trailers and stuff, it just doesn't look like there's a lot of environmental variety. I don't know if you can speak on that at all, but
yeah, what I saw was I saw Forerunner dungeons, I saw ships, and I saw the Pacific Northwest stuff that we've already seen, right? Like ships as in the internal
Chips.
Banish ships. Yeah, I was inside
Yeah.
Frito chips.
I was like, chips? What?
I
Like
was
the Dorito Master Chief chip
yeah,
bags?
right. No, but I was inside ships. I should enunciate a little bit better here. I was inside ships, and really what's interesting is what I saw in the campaign was what you see in the multiplayer, which you pointed
my
out very
concern.
well, right?
Yeah.
So if you're curious about some of the environments you'll see in the campaign, it's right there in front of you. And I think now people will become numb to that already. The multiplayer, when the full game comes around, that could be a problem. Again, if there's no environmental diversity, which I have not seen any indication of. So I am concerned about that because I do think that will hurt the game. Will it take away from the characters, which what I saw early on, they looked like they were planting the seeds of something kind of more emotional. I was about that. I was like, okay, let's do this. I'll go on this ride as long as you guys finish this story. I'm for it. But yeah, the environments are gonna, if it turns out the way we're kind of expecting, environments are gonna hurt this game for sure.
Yeah, you know what's funny about it is I really haven't seen anyone else say anything about it, like the environments. So I don't know if we're like on an island with that take. I know our takes like line up often, but
Yeah,
like
true.
it's weird. But I saw someone in the chat say LCPL Kilby said no snow map. It's like, yeah, if you look at like Halo 3, I don't remember what the map was called, but there's a big snow map. It sort of forms like a U, and there's like the cavern in the middle.
Yeah, I think all of the original 3 had one, a snow map.
Yeah, exactly. And it just it makes it feel less like Halo, in a way, and it kind of sucks. Some of my favorite maps are like varied environments, like Sandbox or Sand Trap, whichever one you like more. It's like this huge desert with like the towers surrounding you that shoot at you if you go outside. And like I don't know, playing through Halo Infinite's multiplayer, it kind of sucks that a lot of it is more of the same. And I think that's sort of like based on what you've said about the campaign and what I know, it makes sense because in like other first-person shooter games, the multiplayer maps are often based on like campaign missions. Like I know Call of Duty does that all the time.
Yeah.
And it's probably because like they're saving assets, but also because a lot of the environments you do go to are interesting enough to host a multiplayer map.
Yeah.
So
Sorry, go on. I almost interrupted you.
I know we're getting like an event in the beta, but I'm hoping that that they add like more maps. And one thing that really bothers me about this game that you told me last night is that they're not going to be adding past Halo maps to it.
Yeah.
And it kind of sucks, but I understand because this game's movement is fairly different from what we're used to. At least maybe not 5 and 4, but definitely 1, 2, 3, 3 ODST and Reach. So my wish for this game would be they go back to older maps and revamp them to fit into Infinite and throw them into the game.
Yeah,
They're not going to, but
yeah, because they said they tried to and it just didn't work. I feel like they'll bend to the audience because right now they just need this game to succeed to make sure that they can I just genuinely think like they need this game to succeed to keep the Halo license. So they'll do whatever it is to please the fans. Like I think there's a reason why we saw that challenge change like in a snap. Obviously they had time based off flight feedback to get ahead of that. But I think given that this is a platform game, if you will, like Halo Infinite will update for the next decade. So if we don't get the snow map now in this story, the sad reality is I think 343's already put their money in the bank on the idea of like, yeah, we're going to do this in like a year, half a year, whenever it is. Yeah. And how they release those will be interesting. I feel like they'll do them through Game Pass. If you're a subscriber, you will just get them. That is my assumption there, to kind of keep in that model, to not nickel and dime that consumer, but we'll see on that front. But yeah, overall, walked away enjoying it. There was a lot of verticality in this, by the way. The campaign, it was really fun on that front. You start off with the grapple shot, so you were just like zipping all over the place.
Does it have limited uses like in multiplayer? Or you just can use it whenever?
You can use it whenever. So you can web swing a little bit. Yeah, there's a cooldown, but it's as you upgrade, that cooldown it lowers. So again, I'm so excited when people get their hands on this game, like what they'll be able to do, where they'll be able to go. There's going to be shit that like I thought I did that, or I thought of that someone else comes up with, that people do. Yeah, it's going to have that Breath of the Wild type of experimentation sandbox nature. It's very fun to play. And the story is emotional, where I think this will be their best campaign yet. I'd be shocked if it weren't. because of the momentum that they have right now. Like, I think the fans are just ready to say it's good. And the multiplayer has been convincing enough where they feel like, yeah, this should be solid. But it's 3-for-3. I'm going to withhold any final judgment there. But yeah, the grapple is good enough where it's starting to feel a part of Halo when it never was before. Like, that's the thing. It's like, it's a cool pickup in multiplayer, but when it's built into the campaign, I almost can't imagine it not being there. It's that fun.
Yeah, no, in multiplayer already, like you see clips on Twitter. I sent one today. Like, people are just doing the coolest, craziest shit with the grappling hook.
Yeah.
So it's good that it's not limited in campaign. Although I kind of figured it wouldn't be, because it's not a competitive environment, and you know, it's campaign. They want people to have fun. Yeah. But what I do like to hear is that, because I think Halo always has had that sandbox aspect to it that's sort of made it unique in that way, that you don't always get in other first-person shooters, especially with something like Forge. I know that's not campaign, and that's coming in the future, but that sort of lends to the sandboxy nature of Halo. Right. So the fact that they sort of like double down on that in the campaign, and it seems to be a key aspect of it that sort of almost makes it more Breath of the Wild-esque, right? I think that's exciting. And I don't know, I didn't watch your preview, but hearing your thoughts here makes me even more excited for the campaign.
Good. I'm glad to hear that. Yeah, there's definitely something worth being excited about, is sort of my conclusion there. Will it be good at the end? I don't think so, but I think the hype is justified at this point in time. I think that they've got one here, so we'll see. Other game I've been playing this week is Fable Anniversary. I have a whole video on Retro Rebound kind of breaking that back down, because it's been 16 years since Fable The Lost Chapters dropped, so I played Anniversary, which is the remaster of that, and it has been a great time to return. Nice, simple RPG, good and evil, making choices, being the hero, being the villain, whichever you want. The world responds to it in kind, whether they thumbs you down and boo you on the streets. I think, Paul, you'd really like this game if you played it. Like, Fable's got a ton of charm to it.
I've never played Fable, but from what I've heard from you and like all of our other friends, it definitely seems like something that's up my alley.
Yeah,
so,
combat sucks, but
is it co-op?
Fable. Is it just Fable 3? I think it's just Fable 3 is co-op. And Fable 3 is like widely considered the worst one. And I think...
Oh, dude.
I know.
Are you sure? I thought the Fable 2 was co-op or something.
It might be. I'll wait for the chat to catch up. 2 and 3 is what Datalade's saying, and I trust Datalade.
I knew it.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure 2 was like the one where you can play and someone is your sibling or whatever, or something.
Oh.
Because I booted it up with one person.
Yeah, chat's saying 2 is. Yeah, so I trust in chat more than myself.
That's what the live show's all about. We get like live action changes and
absolutely.
And when we say something that's wrong, because Matt, we're prone to that.
Yes, right? Certainly me. So, yeah, Fable 2 is one I'm going to swing by before this year is over, because I want to do a video on it for kind of you and I work together, and we get Josh involved, and Locke's going to help a little bit with getting videos prepared for while I'm on a little bit of a break for December. And I've realized, like, you know what, I want to go back to Fable 2. I think this would be a fun sort of retrospective style video, just a re-review, if you will, like a 2021 review or something like that, 2022 review.
When was the last time you reviewed it?
I never reviewed it. That's the kind of the fun part, but also with the Fable hype, like it's yeah, right. It's it's such a good game. Like I had a funtage on my channel originally. It's now deleted. I never had a funtage on my channel though, and that was such a good time. I played it on Christmas Eve, and then I got my appendix out 2 days later. So fun Christmas season for me. Anyway, I'm rambling. Is there any other games you want to talk about, or shall we do some tap-ins?
My week was nothing but schoolwork, Halo Infinite, and Animal Crossing. I'm ready for some tap-ins.
All right, excellent. Let's get someone in here. What's our selection?
You can take a look. I'm gonna bring Sean Mason in though, because last week we didn't get him in. I kind of missed Sean.
All right,
I missed me some Sean.
Let's pull Sean in here.
What's up, Sean?
Hello, Sean. Are you here with us?
Here we are. Yeah,
there he is. All right, Sean, how's it going, man? Oh, wait, he disconnected. Oh no, I'll double panel it.
I brought him.
I'll triple panel it. Now.
We're good.
All right, we're good.
that.
No, you're good, man. What's going on?
Oh, nothing. I just have provide you guys with a little update.
Yeah. All right, the saga continues. Okay, let's hear it, Sean.
Lady.
All right, so my story from last week. So, you guys read that I had lost my Roxas statue, and we had a little thief going around at our school.
Yeah, of course.
So we did form a little special task force, going a little black ops here, trying to catch this thief.
I love it.
So what we did was we got a bunch of teachers, and we had maybe like 6 or 7 of us, and we kind of like narrowed down who the suspects might be, and each of us started kind of just following around people, following them around during our prep.
Right.
We're doing.
Wow.
Holy shit.
It's like a tailing mission.
Holy shit, yeah, it's Assassin's Creed, bro.
So one of the teachers had a really, really bright idea. They put a new item out on their desk.
Oh, bait.
A little bait, yeah.
Yeah, it was a we live in Massachusetts, so it was a Red Sox bobblehead. It was a Pedro Martinez bobblehead. Maddie, funny because you mentioned the Pedro Martinez bobblehead.
Yeah, on Defining Duke. Yeah. Oh, that's so funny.
He's a little bit of an older teacher, so he has a lot of bobbleheads. He put that out there, and then he left his room during his prep, kind of like hung out in the room next door, cracked open like the side door that connects class. You guys know what I'm talking about?
The doors that connect classrooms. Yeah. Especially in elementary school.
Yeah, cracked that open a little bit, and just kind of waited there. About 15, 20 minutes go by, and all of a sudden this kid comes in.
Oh my god!
Wipes the bobblehead and walks out of the room. Now he doesn't jump out at first. First he starts following him down the hallway, and the kid he ends up following him. Kid ends up going to his locker. Kid opens his locker, right?
Oh no!
Every single item that was stolen is in his locker. Nothing else, but just all those items stolen.
Wow!
So it has my rock statue, this like LGBTQ pride flag.
What?
Whistle from the gym. Yeah, whistle from the gym. A bunch of stuff like that. And all of a sudden he goes, I'll call him Jim. He goes, Jim, what are you doing? And he turns around and he starts freaking out. He goes, this isn't my locker. I it's for someone else. And we're like, and the teacher who caught him was like, oh my, like, no, come on. So he brings him down to the office. And then what he does is they call all the teachers who are on the special task force down. There's like 6 or 7 of us. We go down there and we start asking him, so like, well, why did you steal this item? We're asking him like, why was he stealing items? And he would not admit that it was that stupid TikTok challenge. He goes, no, I didn't steal them. He goes, I found them. I just found them, and I thought they were pretty cool.
Yeah.
So then
he happened upon a Roxas statue.
Yeah, I'm like, all right, that's a little strange.
Rare find.
Eventually he did, we were like, all right, we're going to call your parents. And he's like, no. And was like, no. And then we had to give him the whole riot act about, stealing's a crime. Like, dude, you're 13. You're in 7th grade. You should know stealing's a crime.
Yeah.
But it was like, I just couldn't believe it. The task force actually worked. It took like a week, but it worked. Like, we were following kids around and everything. It was crazy. But my question to you guys is, when have you ever, like, found an item that you did not expect to find at a certain place?
Oh, I got one right off the rip.
You go first, Matt.
I was in my backyard at my childhood home. It's funny, actually. I just recently, I live near where I had like my first ever home, and every now and then I swing by there to see like what has changed in the development, just because it brings me nostalgia, and I like a little nostalgia bath every now and then. So I actually swung by there earlier this week because I was passing by. But anyway. I remember being in the backyard of my childhood home and going out the sliding door. We had like a huge hill that led to this big pine tree, and like resting next to the pine tree out there was this atomic purple Game Boy Color. I remember thinking like, oh my God, what is this doing out here? So I pick it up, I flip it on, it works. Super Mario Bros. Deluxe was in there. It was lodged in. So I bring it inside. I'm like, yo, Ma, look what I found. She's like, oh, like, oh boy, you found a game console out there. That's definitely not yours. And so what happens is she's like, okay, you just, that may not be yours. You hold on to it. And so I remember I was so excited with it. I slept with this thing, right? I didn't. Not slept with like that. I kept it in my bed.
Grave.
Yeah. I had intercourse with the Game Boy Color.
Some poor kid's Game Boy Color.
Cartridge slot.
Yeah. Blowing into the cartridge slot at a new level.
Yeah, so I ended up like sleeping in bed with this thing and like cuddling it under my blanket, right? And my mom wakes me up in the morning. She's like, "We got to knock on our door, honey. You're gonna have to give that one up." I'm just like, "No." She's like, "Yeah, they lost it. It's theirs." And so, unfortunately, I had to relinquish it. Now my parents are great and eventually got me my own green Game Boy, which I still own.
Ooh, that's the one I had.
Yeah, right. So I did eventually get one because they saw how much it meant to me, and like it was my birthday, so it came around and they rewarded my adoration for an object. But that was one time, yeah, I found something I simply did not expect in a place I also never expected.
So for me, back in like I'd say middle school, my friend, he lives like 20 minutes from me in the subdivision, and in the subdivision there's like a walking trail in the forest. And we were a bunch of weird kids, so we tried to make like creepy stories about it and stuff. So one night we got like a makeshift Ouija board.
Oh
It
man.
was like a Ouija board but white. It had all the symbols on it and stuff, but it just wasn't like what a normal one looks like.
Sure.
I don't even think we had the planchette that you put your fingers on. So me and I'd say like 4 or 5 of my other friends, Matt, our mutual friend Colin was one of them.
Yeah, I thought so.
Yeah, we put on a bunch of hats. Like you would have thought we were playing like Team Fortress 2. Like we got zany weird hats to put on. I had a Christmas hat on. My friend had like a one of those like soda hats or whatever. I can't remember, but it was just we were a bunch of weirdos. And so a bunch of weirdos in weird hats walking to this forest with a Ouija board. And we're goofing off and stuff, and it's weird. Everybody, they decide to run away. And once one person runs, everybody runs because it's like, oh, we're scared, run away. So like, I take off my hat and I throw it for some reason like an idiot, and then we can't find it. So then like a year later, it's spring break, and we come back to the forest. We're just going for a walk, and this is a walking trail, but like I guess cars can go through it too, like trucks or whatever. Because I found the Christmas hat, like almost indented into the mud.
Oh
And
my
there was
god.
there was a little plant growing out of it, and this was like a year later.
So you
And
gave
it's not like
birth by accident.
yeah, I fostered a little baby plant. I gave it a
Wow.
home in a Christmas hat.
Do you know what the plant's up to now?
No, I left him there. I didn't disturb him.
You
I
abandoned
left
it.
No, he was minding his business. He had a nice home. I didn't want to disturb it. But yeah, no, it was so funny coming across that hat because it was such like a vivid memory of we're all sitting here around this Ouija board being goofs, and then all my friends decide to just take off, and of course I trail after them. Who wants to be left in a creepy dark forest alone?
Yeah.
I don't want to.
Yeah,
And
certainly
so
not.
yeah, no, but like being the goofball I am, I just throw my hat. I think it's funny, and then come across it. I basically I polluted is what I'm trying to say.
Yeah.
With
But
a
you
Christmas hat.
you polluted, but you also contributed to the environment because the plant got to grow.
Exactly. It's like Wall-E. If you've ever seen Wall-E,
Yes,
this is like
good movie.
like the abridged version of Wall-E. So that's my lost and found story for the day.
All right.
Well,
Pretty
Sean,
cool.
it was excellent talking with you. I got to ask while you're here: is there any updates on the pizza front, or
No,
we
there's
waiting
been
on that?
no updates on that. I haven't gotten any emails. Kid hasn't mentioned it,
Okay,
which is good.
yeah,
I'm glad.
Message sent. Yeah.
I have noted that the kid has become a little bit more quiet in my class, though. Doesn't
Okay.
really talk as much, so I don't know if he's a little nervous.
He thinks you're
but
gonna be
yeah.
his next dad. He wants to give a good impression.
Oh yeah, I'm gonna be his next father. Yeah. Oh my gosh.
Well, Sean, if you have
Yeah,
any
if
updates, the line's always open. We're willing to hear it.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I'll definitely keep you guys updated. Hopefully, well, not hopefully. She doesn't.
Yeah, fingers
I don't
crossed you
know.
got a new
Yeah.
story for us.
You gotta watch your words there.
Yeah. But no, thanks guys for having me.
Of course.
Love the show. Keep it up.
All right, Sean.
Thanks,
Great
Sean.
talking to you, man. Thanks for tuning
Yep.
in.
Bye guys.
Wow,
Awesome.
excellent choice.
All right, that's great. All right, I'm gonna let you pick the next person.
All right, let me see what we got here. You know what? We've tried Natural Calamity a couple times in the past. Let's see if we can get him. He's written into every episode of Ham Radio. I would love to get
Okay.
him in here if we can.
All right, let's give Natural Calamity a roll.
Yeah, hopefully his mic is prepared. We'll see about that. Natural Calamity,
Oh,
are you
whoa.
here? He's muted. Got me a little nervous
okay.
off the rip. But
we'll give him like 10 seconds or
Yeah.
5 seconds.
Yeah,
Like,
we'll
natural calamity. This is your moment. All right. You've been trying to get in for a while.
yeah,
This is it.
we're leaving the door wide open, but it's
I
slowly
know it.
closing.
Like open the gate a little bit.
Yeah.
He has a write-in. We'll get to his write-in.
Yeah, we'll get
Sorry,
to his
natural.
write-in. We'll do drunk volcano. Oh, wait, he unmuted. Hold
What?
on.
Hello.
Natural? Don't leave me hanging here. Here's the thing, Natural, if you're on mobile, sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't, is what we've learned. Like, Sean was definitely just on mobile. But
Was he? I thought he was on PC because he was like, I don't know.
he was on portrait mode, so I'm guessing so. Natural,
All right, Natty,
we're going to have to let you go.
Calamity. Sorry, man. Next time.
We're going to have to do drunk volcano.
That's not a bad choice.
Yeah, let's do it up.
All right, Soda Man.
Here we go.
What up, imps?
What's going on?
All right, here we go.
Just to confirm, you guys are doing an episode next week, yeah?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, it's Thanksgiving. I just was
yeah.
double checking.
Yeah,
All right.
Yeah, we
Is
should
it
be.
Is it on Friday?
No, Thanksgiving's
No, it's Thursday, the day before. That's why I was just making sure. All right, I got an announcement to make.
Okay.
The Ham fam allows it. Next week, after the news segment, the plebe viewers do not understand, but in the Discord, there's been a riot of the Patreon of the Great Pizza Debate. And it is building.
Oh, here we
And
go.
I have been building my research, okay? I have been to Pizza Hut. I have taken measurements, price, freshness. Today, after this episode...
Time out real quick. How do you measure freshness? I just need to know for my.
All right. Okay, so instead of having the food delivered to me, I go and pick it up.
Oh, okay. I
That's
respect
a
this.
perfect way to keep it, safe and experiment. You're not waiting for a delivery driver.
Good.
Yeah, they get lost on my street sometimes. I have to go out there with a pitchfork. But so yeah. So so next week you won't get to see my sexy face. You'll instead be seeing a PowerPoint presentation I've been preparing.
Oh my God.
I'm here for it. I don't know about you, Matt.
I'm
but that sounds
100% here for this. This is
Okay.
this is absolutely a countermeasure against my $20 box. I have to do my research.
amazing. 20
Okay.
bucks.
I also want to let you know there is some ground rules. Now we aren't comparing sides here. This is about pizza.
We're talking
Okay.
pizza. Okay. That
And
immediately
we are
blows a hole in the $20 box for sure. So
And then we are also talking about the 4 big chains of what I consider fast food pizza, which is Domino's, Little Caesars, Papa John's, and Pizza Hut.
Okay.
Now, the point of this argument isn't to compare your 5-star local Michelin restaurant or whatever that we all know is great. Okay, that's not the point.
he's
That's
already
not the point of
taking
this
out all
event.
my defense, Paul. He's taking it all out before we start.
Like I got local pizza places. Like I got one that's like, and would eat any other day of the week than fucking Domino's. But I'm gonna
Talking
eat
fast food here. Okay.
It's fast food. We're convenient. So I just wanted to let you guys know the rules so you can come somewhat prepared. So it's not a complete destroy.
Yeah,
But anyway.
Yeah, I was gonna say you've already wiped out every line of defense I had ready, so I'm gonna have to eat it again and re-experience it and then dig very deep. And
That's what I've been
An
doing.
intimate
For me-
experience may provide me the defense I'm looking for.
Do you guys know the story of John Schnatter, the owner of Pizza Hut? He said some bad, or not Pizza Hut, Papa John's.
Papa John.
He said
Oh,
some
yeah.
bad things, but then he was like, the last month I've had 70 pizzas. Like this is how I'm picturing Drunk Volcano right now. Like ordering a bunch
Was
of
it 40
pizzas.
pizzas in 40 days or something like that?
Yeah, something like that.
Fucking grease flowing from his face.
Volcano's
Yeah,
just
poor
going,
guy.
a reckoning is coming and all that shit.
Yeah. But anyway, on to the actual topic. Maddie, since you lost the last debate, I'll give you a choice for today's topic. I can either discuss a hot take that I have that both of you are very passionate about, or I can attack Kobe. So it's up to you.
No, I
you're
don't.
giving him two
I don't.
amazing
I want
options.
you to choose to attack Paul. So I'm gonna say let's do the hot take.
All right, so my hot take is I fucking hate physical video games. I despise games like cases, discs. All right, for this statement, Maddie, when you put in a new game into your Series X and S console or PlayStation 5, do you have to download?
Usually if there's a patch, yeah, you got to download or at least install. There's an install
Like,
timer.
You always have to install the game.
Yeah.
Yeah, the
Always.
install. And the install is, correct me if I'm wrong, the exact same or less than the actual game if I were to buy it on digital, right?
Exact same. Yeah, it's not any
Okay.
different.
So you're paying for a glorified activation code that you can possibly lose that won't let you play the game. Okay.
Okay, fair enough.
I've also
I'll let
in
you
my
finish.
360 days, let's just say my family wasn't the most well off at times.
Sure.
Okay, yeah.
Sometimes stuff gets stolen, stuff gets sold,
Mm-hmm.
stuff because money issues. You know how it is.
Of course.
Right,
I
yeah.
was the same way. Yeah.
So and then I lose those games forever.
Mm-hmm.
Young drunk volcano losing game.
Yep.
Okay, discs get scratched. The worst feeling is when you're fucking struggling to clean a disc. You're pulling every trick out of your ass that you can think of. You got the blowing it. You got the Windex cleaning it. You're even going to Family Video to try to get that shit buffered. I've done it multiple times for favorite games.
Oh, yeah.
It happened to Fallout 3. It happened to New Vegas. It's happened to San Andreas. It's just been like that, you know. I hate that.
Right.
Okay.
I'm now. My bold statement is here. For the Xbox 360, I mainly had discs.
Mm.
For the Xbox One, I didn't buy a single disc.
Mm-hmm.
Because the glory of the 360 was, I plug it in and I play.
Okay.
That's how most discs were. Well, and then you had like GTA where you had to actually install. But that's how I felt.
Right. Okay.
So
I'm just making sure that the thought has been completed. Yes.
yes,
I'll have to step in
for now.
For now. All right. So here's how I look at it. I think what you did was incidentally confess to me, if I'm not mistaken, that you took poor care of your discs. Yes.
It's a family household. I'm not the only one who used the discs.
Oh,
Yeah, no,
I had my siblings, or my step siblings at the time, and I also had my father. My father's a angry man at times. and
so just
stuff gets snapped.
Right. I have an older brother who snapped a disc or two, so I get that. Paul,
Yeah,
what were you about to say?
I'll come to Volcano's defense here. I'm on the physical game side, and I'm absolutely gonna. You're not getting out of here without a scratch, but but I will say, Volcano, little kid goes to school. What's he gonna do when his brother, sister, daddy, mommy comes in his room, sells his game, breaks his game? You can't control that.
Yeah.
So I know where you're coming from with that.
I'm gonna dig deep on this one. All right.
Okay.
I played a lot of RuneScape when I was a kid. And you know what happens when your account gets hacked? You lose everything. So Mr. Volcano here has two choices. He can roll the dice with a physical copy, right, in his House of Horror, or he can download his stuff. And if that account ever gets lost, that's it, man. Those are gone, right? So I feel like, and here's the other thing, because as someone who, I grew up with like no money at all either. I had to do the physical game trick at GameStop. So I would buy a ton of used, right? I don't know if you ever did this, Volcano, but I'd buy a ton of games used and I'd bring them back a week later and tell them like, yeah, they didn't work. And I'd get my trade credit back and I'd recycle.
I didn't do that, but I have traded in some great games.
Yeah, and I've done that too. You have to let some go because as this young and upcoming gamer, you're like, man, I got to survive out here.
You let them go, and then they become like $80 or $100 in a few years.
Yes, there are some I've let go of that I've kicked myself for. Even like until I really got serious about game collecting, like I would say within the last 3 years. Like I remember trading in Persona Q2, which is like $100 3DS game. I'm like, what the fuck was I thinking? I could hit myself for that. But anyway, I think care is important, but I think also for those of us who don't have a lot of money, these digital games, especially until like I'd say right about now, they never go on big sales, right? We get digital sales throughout the year, but what I'm saying like physical always depreciates. And then it eventually goes up if you don't have the right ones.
Depreciation's your key because the actual disc can depreciate.
But nothing's forever. We've learned this week with even Metal Gear Solid 2 and 3 getting yanked off storefronts, nothing's forever. Even your discs can decompose over time if you leave them out for a long enough while, years on years.
That's if you don't take care of it. Disc degradation is a thing, but you can still take care of your disc, keep them cleaned, apply whatever cleaning solution you need to make sure they don't degrade. It'll happen one day. Nothing lasts forever, nothing.
Yes.
But you can keep them preserved for at least, maybe your lifespan. And another thing with modern games, you were talking about this, Volcano, how it downloads your game to your console, right? Well, that also means that when you put your disc in, you don't need to read all the data off the disc. That shit can be totally scratched. All it needs is a little check. I think someone in chat, everyone's idol Goro, said it's a DRM check. I don't know what that is, but I'm assuming if your disc is scratched to high hell, it'll still work because it can still recognize it's Grand Theft Auto or whatever.
One thing that Volcano's right about is nowadays discs are like activation keys. Like they'll download it, you'll put the disc in, and it'll check for it. It's the same thing with back compat. The reason why when you put in let's say I put in KOTOR into my Series X, the reason why when I put that disc in, it still installs the game is because it's an activation key for effectively emulation. Is what's happening.
Yeah.
It's not the actual native experience. It's why they're able to upscale it and stuff.
Server.
Yeah. So it's a little bit of a facade at times. But the other thing I offer you, Volcano, is I'm not the biggest advocate of modern physical collecting. Like I do it because I love it, but I'm talking old. I'm talking PS2. I'm talking NES, Game Boy Color. Like that's where my real collecting chops are. Of course, you don't have much of an option there, right? But that has carried over into a modern era where I think there were some cool physical copies on the 360, on the PS3, where I get your perspective. I feel like when your goods are damaged and it becomes an inconvenience, it's very easy to wash your hands, right? Like when
I know I'm out here with the sob story, but so my parents are naturally divorced, correct? All right.
Sure.
Just so I would go over to my dad's on the weekend. That's how some of my shit got disappeared.
Yeah.
But
I get that.
Recently, just in the past year, now I'm not don't take any pity on me or whatever.
We're sending you e-hugs anyway. Let's hear it.
No, so my dad got a quote-unquote divorce, but he split up with his significant other of 13 years. Okay? That bitch has all the fucking Xbox 360 games.
No.
I mean,
the casualty.
Yeah, so there's
that
pain.
Can't
there's pain
hold.
Here.
And she has all of his shit. But that's what I mean. If I had all those games digitally, maybe I could still play some of them back compat.
I get this. This just cuts a little bit deeper than just physical collecting versus digital.
Yeah. Volcano, I have. This is totally off topic from what you're talking about. I understand, tragedies can happen to physical games, and that's just horrible. But when you bring someone over to your house and you have, you might be showing them your awesome gamers den. I think everybody has a dream of like the man cave. Your game.
I got one going on right now.
Exactly. You get your PC. You got TVs mounted. You got LED lights, couches, all kinds of cool stuff. Arcade cabinet, Matt. You got one.
Yes, sir.
How much cooler is it to be able to pop open a case, pull the manual out if you have manuals? Most modern games don't nowadays, but show them the case, the artwork, the disc, versus booting up your console and scrolling through a digital library. I feel like there's a certain luxury, novelty to it, perhaps, that I understand oftentimes a lot of people can't achieve that luxury because you can break games or they can get lost or stolen or whatever. But I think physical game collecting, I'm a bit of an elitist. I think it's above digitals. It's above digital collecting.
Acquired taste.
It's an acquired taste, and only certain people can have it. You can't.
I guess. I just prefer playing things day one.
That's another good point, though.
Yeah, you definitely get the midnight buffs for sure.
Yeah.
I already got the shit fucking preloaded. I don't have to install it once I get the disc.
Yes, there's definitely something there. There's definitely something there. But here's the thing: as an owner of Trails of Cold Steel 1, 2, 3, and 4, complete in box collector's editions, all that good stuff, I will own a mansion in about 20 years when those go up in value. And then, so I'm just saying, this is an investment in my future too.
But it's like one of those guys who collect bobbleheads. Are you really gonna be able to give up your bobbleheads?
I don't pretend I'm gonna sell any of my shit.
That's
what I mean.
Yeah. I see people all the time like offloading stuff on Mercari, eBay, and they're like, "Yeah, I'm moving, so I'm just getting rid of this shit." And I'm like, "Don't you want more money for it?" And they're like, "No, I need to get rid of it." I'm like, "Not me, man. Like, if I'm selling my stuff, I'm getting the price for them, the right price."
I also have another argument. Is Now it's a little sketch, but you guys have discussed it before. Is Xbox game sharing?
Okay, like the digital game sharing.
So me
Yeah.
and my father, we're real tight. We're G's, you know.
Yeah.
So we do the Xbox game sharing. So any game I buy, he gets. Any game he buys, I get. So now I don't have to go buy 2 physical copies.
Right.
Right.
So in previous, I'd have 2 World at Wars. I'd have 2 MW2s.
And they were
Hell, I
still
had
getting destroyed. You had multiples. Okay.
I had 3 MW2s because of we had some got destroyed. One got destroyed, but yeah.
Yeah.
But you gotta think.
Yeah.
2 different households mentality. So I had one at my house, and then he had one at his house. That's just how it was.
That's an excellent point, by the way. I'll throw that out there. Like independence begs for physical copies, while shared homes and all that stuff.
That's what I'm saying.
Digital,
it's like a luxury.
Yeah.
But Volcano, that is a totally valid point, and I almost think like it's like one of the mainstays for digital purchases because, like I want to buy Pokemon Diamond. I'm gonna get it physically, but my girlfriend, she's visiting in like a month, so she won't have like a lot of money to spare. So if I get it digitally, like she gets it too, and it's like, you know what I mean? It's so nice to be able to like share games and have shared libraries with people. Steam does it, PlayStation does it, Switch does it, Xbox, everybody.
Steam does it ass though.
Yeah,
don't mention Steam. Fuck Steam.
Well,
the way they do it is,
the only reason why
you
is
can
can't
share
play
your
at the same
library.
time.
But if I play even any game on my library, it boots you off.
Yeah,
Fuck
that's
Steam.
why I like the Switch and everything else. Because I mean, listen, I was like, I'd say elementary into middle school, I was doing game share with my boys, and I was like you, Volcano. I didn't grow up with
You
a
had
lot
it
of money
early,
at all.
man. I could have used that in high school. Holy shit.
Yeah.
Oh
dude,
my god, that would have been
it
so
was
fucking
awful.
clutch.
I mean, like you buddy up with the rich kid, and you're getting everything. That's just how it was. Like one of my buddies, like he bought like every game, and I was always getting it like day one.
Right.
It was great, but it was like helpful to me, like genuinely, because I couldn't afford it. I really couldn't. I was like 1 to 2 $60 games a year. Like that was what I was growing up with.
Sure.
So as I got older, my tastes evolved. I wanted to try new things. That came into clutch, and I think people don't mention it enough.
For sure.
All right.
Well,
I
Volcano,
will stick by my guns until the day I fucking die.
we respect
But
that. We respect
I
the
wanted
tenacity.
to let you guys know.
Well, we appreciate that, and I'm looking
it was
forward to
good insight.
debating you shortly. Within next
Next
week.
week.
Yep, next
I,
week.
Matt,
I'm,
it's not
I
gonna
have
be
to
a debate.
eat
You're
fucking
getting pummeled.
dreaded. I have to eat dreaded Papa John's tonight to make my
Oh.
schedule.
Dude,
Ugh.
you have to eat Little Caesars. I feel sorry for you.
Well, I'm actually, for my Little Caesars, I'm gonna go to a different store than I usually do, because I have like the best fucking Little Caesars. For some reason, it just fucking smacks. So for fairness aspect, I'm gonna go to a different one farther out.
Wow, this
I
is an
respect-
objective take here. I don't
I
know if I
respect
might just have to sit back and listen and not battle. We'll see. We'll see how
No,
prepared
I'm
I
alright.
become.
Okay, guys.
I'm battling. But I'm happy you're taking this to the next step and you're being scientific about it. We've all learned the scientific method, and you're surely following it. So
I had to relearn area of a circle for this shit.
Yeah.
I swear. I was a
Diameter
shit
of the
math
pizza.
student. Alright, see ya, guys.
Peace out, Volcano. Great talking to you. All right. I'm gonna
Wow.
get fucking eviscerated next week for my Pizza Hut take. I think he must have
That's
lost his
powerful.
mind in the server, and I didn't even see it.
Oh, dude, it was crazy how much we were talking about pizza in there, but I don't know, man. That Little Caesar, it's just not the play. Not a fan of it.
No one can move me off the greatness of the $20 box. $20 box.
Anytime pizza is advertised as cheap, I know it's not going to be good. You got Little Caesars, it's $5, hot and ready. It's dog shit. $20 box. That's dog shit. I don't want that. I want my
Look.
pizza. I want good, tasty pizza.
Look, what you're saying right now is so irrelevant to me. I could not even describe it.
That's great, Matt. Next week it'll be very relevant. You'll wake up from this. You'll have to pull your head out of the sand. It'll be ridiculous.
I'm burying my head from trauma.
Yeah, you're scared. You're terrified. You don't even want to do next week's show. You're gonna call
I'm
off.
feeling ill, guys.
Hey guys, can't do Ham live today, and I can't host it. That'll be
Paul's
great.
gonna do it on his own. Wait, he can't because he needs my activation key for my channel, which only I have. All right, let's get into the news. Certainly got a decent amount to talk about this week. I want to start
Oh,
things
yeah, for
off
sure.
with the Elder Scrolls 6, which is an Xbox exclusive. Go figure. I thought this was interesting because it was making headlines. So we have this little clip here from Game Informer. Phil Spencer recently did a interview with GQ, and he said Starfield, arguably the biggest game of 2022, will be Xbox and PC only. Spencer says he sees the same for Elder Scrolls 6. He went on to say, in order to be on Xbox, I want us to be able to bring the full, complete package of what we have. And that would be true when I think about Elder Scrolls 6. That would be true when I think about any of our franchises. So this is the big one, right? And the reason this is telling is because you look at other franchises they own, and if they're going to lock down Elder Scrolls 6, what else are they going to lock down? Pretty much everything, you'd have to imagine. So I thought it was at least somewhat worth talking about. How do you feel about knowing that, 18 years from now when you fire up Elder Scrolls 6, it'll be either on Xbox or PC, nowhere else?
So I'm a little sad because I like my platinum trophies.
Sure.
But that being said, as a consumer, as someone who wants the best interest for everybody, I think this is great. PlayStation has some banger exclusives. In fact, that's pretty much whenever you have a Sony pony come up to you and make fun of you for buying a Series X, like I used to. The main argument is the exclusives. So Xbox really needs to nail down some exclusives, and honestly, I think they're in their right to do that. People slander Xbox, get mad at them for making Bethesda games exclusive, but Nintendo and Sony have had exclusive games for as long as we can remember, and it's always been like that. And the reason that some of these games are so good is because of that. You want to have the best games on your system. You want to have the most competitive titles, and that just breeds competitiveness. It breeds good games, and I'm glad that Xbox is taking that step. Plus, it's their property; like they're allowed to do that.
Yeah.
At this point, all right, older gamers, maybe not younger gamers who can't afford it. I get it. I was there. You're bound to have multiple consoles. Got a PS5, and then get a PC or an Xbox. You don't need both. If you want both, get them. But then you got your bases covered. You don't have to worry. And that's just my thoughts on it.
Yeah, I don't know why this was so shocking to people. Like, it's annoying because the press continues to perpetuate this idea that it's shocking, and not because it made the headlines. That's fine if you want to talk about it because Phil Spencer has locked down a game. That's important to talk about, I think.
Well, that's the press for you anyway. Like,
yeah,
make it all hype.
Like, I was opening up a couple articles, and like PC Gamer had the one that was most stand out to me. I don't have the direct quote here, but it was something along the lines of like a crushing, a brutal move.
Okay.
Right. Like it was brutal for Xbox to lock it down, and it's this lacking of like the same energy where I don't see anyone calling it an exquisitely brutal move for PlayStation, for example, to lock down Final Fantasy VII Remake for we're nearing 2 years in a couple of months. That's crazy to me to think about. I thought for sure that was a 1 year, 1.5 years. We'll see you on Xbox eventually. But the fact that they're still holding it down says something. And I don't really see that same conversation happening there. And it's not really that I want PlayStation fans to get shit on. It's more so just keep the same energy. Like if it's brutal for Xbox, okay, then it should be brutal for PlayStation.
Some objectivity. Right?
Yeah, that'd be sick.
If I'm going to write an article about Xbox locking down this, and I already have a preconceived notion that it kind of sucks, I'm gonna go in there looking at Sony and seeing what they're doing, and I'm gonna be like, okay, what games have Sony not made exclusive and put on Xbox? Yeah, none, as far as I know. I mean, there might be like one or something, but none at all. Definitely not Nintendo. You won't see Mario on Xbox or PlayStation ever.
No, it drives your product forward, right? Like that's the point of them.
Yeah, I'm not buying a console because they're the same. The Xbox and they give me the same looking graphics. The games are what matter.
Exactly, and so I understand the purpose of them, but I think that the treatment of Xbox, it's almost like there's this long-standing hangover from, I don't know if you remember this because it was like during the Fallout 4 days, so for a lot of us it was irrelevant, but no, not even Connect, Tomb Raider, when they did Rise of the Tomb Raider exclusively, and they bought it out for a year, and people were freaking the fuck out at Xbox because Xbox had bought the exclusivity for a game that wasn't originally theirs, right? And they were like, how could you do this? Like, Tomb Raider was a third-party IP. And Xbox really wanted their own Uncharted, so they went and bought one, right? They locked it down for a year. The game did horribly, by the way. Like, it reviewed well because the game was very good, but it did horribly in sales. Yeah, horrible. Because Xbox One was horrible, man. It was not a good console in my opinion. And so it does poorly, but it's amazing because PlayStation follows that up by really locking down a ton of games with their money. And that's been their identity. And it shows, like, one thing you're just used to. The other thing is just this knee-jerk reaction. And I get it. We all wanted Xbox to go do their own thing, make new IP. And we're finally seeing them do that because they got someone like Phil Spencer in who's about games. And it took a while to turn that ship around. But here we are now seeing new shit finally coming our way in about probably the next year or so. But I don't see the same energy constantly for Xbox and PlayStation. And it's weird because there's a Game Pass bias, right? Like there is a PlayStation bias, I think, and there's a Nintendo bump. Like these are real things, but there's like an Xbox bias in a negative way. I've noticed it's like Phil Spencer good, Game Pass good, but like anything else, like there's not this same objectivity there.
Yeah, no, I totally agree with that. I also think that the games media in general sort of favors Sony. I don't know why, but you see it. And like, I'm not here to, start any arguments with anybody who's like pro game journal or whatever, but you see it with the reviews, you see it with previews, you see it with how they speak about Xbox versus Sony. Like Sony, they just get treated much better by the games media, and we've all seen it. So it goes into how they look at Xbox. They tend to be more critical, and it sucks because you're supposed to have objectivity in journalism, but games journalism is so derivative of normal journalism that it's more like games PR.
Yeah.
So
it's dangerously close. So I just,
dude,
I thought it was just interesting that this was making headlines for reasons that were like, you look at it and go, well, yeah, of course, they've locked down Starfield, they've locked down pretty much every future game. Redfall's locked down, and then you see, for example, Elder Scrolls 6, and when I start to read the content of the article, it's kind of almost like an idea of Xbox making a negative move. And I get it, right? Like the idea here is maybe, I'll be fair, like maybe it's a receiving of, hey, we want games for everybody. But I think that's also failing to acknowledge two things, which is, again, as we said, exclusive. They push these platforms forward. But I also feel it's a failure to acknowledge the relationship that Bethesda and Xbox have had for decades. The reason I say that is, number one, Morrowind has never sniffed a PlayStation console. Number two, Oblivion had the 360 was built around, to an extent, Oblivion. And then, this is no excuse, but I'm just saying, Skyrim barely worked on PS3. There is a legacy there.
Fallout too. Yeah. Fallout had problems on PS3.
Yeah. Oh my God, yeah. And the PS3 had that a lot because of the cell processor, of course. But there has been a legacy there with Elder Scrolls that people ignore on PC and Xbox. So I don't know why it's this brutal move that's being dealt. I shouldn't say I don't know why. I'm using that way too much. I know why they're saying it. I don't know why they're running away with it so much without like that just small extra step forward to think like, oh, this is why.
Well, people have their favorite platforms, right? And I get that. Like, I prefer playing on PlayStation. Like, whenever I'm playing any game, if there's a new game coming out, PlayStation is my immediate console, just because trophies. That's pretty much it. But no, I get people's argument, like, oh, we're some people think like they're losing access to Bethesda games or whatever when Microsoft buys them out and makes it exclusive. But I mean, this game hasn't even come out yet. You don't have access to it. It's just now when it does come out, it'll be exclusive. And Sony's response to this should be, oh, we don't have access to the Elder Scrolls anymore. Let's make our own. Let's make a really good. Let's compete a little bit.
Yes.
And then you get something new. Is it going to be better? I don't know. It might not be. It could probably not. It's the Elder Scrolls, but But the idea is that like it pushes Sony to one up Microsoft, and they're constantly trying to do that to each other. And that's just. I personally think that's how we get good games. So. I'm not against it.
Yeah,
I'm in favor of this.
I think the reason Xbox got a fire in their ass once they got like Satya Nadella, they got Microsoft behind them, they're pushing forward. Of course, Game Pass momentum, but let's be honest, PlayStation dominating them for a generation, there's pride there. And they wiped them clean all throughout the PS4 Xbox One gen. That it wasn't remotely, like, there's no bias there. It wasn't remotely close. I want Xbox to battle back this gen. We're starting to see, shades of that. I think they've done a really good job this year, especially. But I want Xbox to 2022 and 2023 is when we're going to really start to see some of these games. If they're going to deliver like a plethora of diverse titles, I think PlayStation fans are going to get antsy real quick because look at their upcoming slate. It's a lot of this third-person open world template. That's not a bad thing because PlayStation's been kicking ass with that. But when was the last first-person shooter they got? I'll answer that. Killzone Shadowfall. That was the last first-person shooter on PlayStation.
Was that a launch
exclusively.
PS4 game?
Yes, launch PS4 game. And it was a good game. And I get Guerrilla's on to greener pastures now with, of course, Horizon. But like that lacking of diversity, now you're seeing Elder Scrolls get locked down, and you're going to see a lot of other, hopefully, more diverse games.
We have Halo too.
Yes.
Like another great first-person shooter.
Yes, and that's Xbox's thing, right? They do first-person. We got id there. Bethesda Game Studios does first-person. id. I mean, there's so many. Machine Games. So there's a little bit of DNA there, but there's more beyond it where I feel like PlayStation is eventually going to see this, and they're going to have to react to some extent.
Yeah, I mean, the way I look at it is like you brought it up perfectly. Sony was basically kicking Xbox on the ground last generation, right?
God, yeah, it wasn't even close.
Yeah, and like, I mean, look at this. This is not necessarily the same exact situation, but look at something like Bloodborne. That's a From Software game. It's only on PlayStation. But other From Software games are on Xbox. So where was the outrage with that, right? That's sort of like what
isn't that really weird too?
And what's the thing is, I don't think people are intentionally biased. I almost think that they just don't recognize it because they're used to it from Sony and from Nintendo, but they're not used to Xbox actually trying to like put their foot in the ring and be like, hey, we're here too. We had a sucky generation, but now we're picking it up, and now they're blowing steam. They're doing great.
Right.
So I just hope they keep doing what they're doing. And this is coming from someone who really does. I bought my Series X just for Halo and Forza. Like, I really don't care about this console. I like the controller, but I'm a PS5 mainstay. That's my console. And so, if you guys think Matt's an Xbox loving Phil Spencer, then I'm the Sony guy, and I'm saying Xbox is doing the right thing because now my Sony games are going to be even better. So
hopefully, right? Really good points there. So
we also have a super chat.
Yeah, I was going to say,
I'm going to cut you off.
No, you're good. Once we wrap that up, I was like, let's get into that. So we got a super chat here from Adam Thim. It says, hey there, my dudes. With Thanksgiving just around the corner, do you have any gaming memories / traditions that you like to do around this time? For me, every year I play Mass Effect 1, and this year I'll be playing it on PS5. Adam, we hope you're doing well, by the way, given what you had shared with us recently. So our best wishes to you again, man. Thank you so much for tuning in, for super chatting. We do appreciate that. Paul, real quick, I mean, any gaming memories or traditions around the holidays?
No, not this time of year. But it's interesting he brings this up because I do like something about winter, and I think you experience this too because we've talked about it. Something about fall, winter. It's sort of like when when games are coming out, but playing games just feels so different. I crack open my window, you got the cold air coming in. And it's just different. The year's slowing down. You get to winter, everything slows down. Nature slows down. People are working less. I mean, not everybody, but you're getting towards the end of the year. You're getting towards that break everybody looks forward to. And I think winter and fall, mainly winter, bring that sort of like tranquil. I can just sit down and game and not worry too much. But for holiday games, Halloween is when I go hard on horror games. It's always my thing. But even though it's already passed, but for some reason I can just horror games in Halloween. It's just it's great. I don't really have any Christmas games, but I want to create a tradition because that'd be cool to play a game like every Christmas or Christmas time.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I have games typically that remind me of Christmas. And I realized last year I fell out of this. So I'm really thankful for this super chat because it kind of reminded me of something that meant a lot to me. And I think I've become so work savvy. And of course, with another big game of mine dropping in December, like I'm so happy Starfield's dropping in November because like last year was Cyberpunk in the heat of December. This year it's Halo Infinite in the heat of December. So I'm happy this was here to kind of remind me of a thing that honestly matters to me a lot, which is a good December game. One game that I always come back around to around Christmas time, although I've been playing it all year, was Star Wars: The Old Republic. We always like to gather and call and get the group together and play a little bit of an MMO. There's something about that. I think you put it really well. The tranquility, everyone's slowed down, everyone's home, like school's done for a little bit. I'm done with work for a little bit. So you gather around a game. Yes, exactly.
It's like, let's play a game.
Yeah.
Like last year we what was the game? Outward on Steam. You, me, our mutual friends Matt or Tyler and Colin.
Yeah.
We did a contest who could beat the game quickest.
Yeah,
this game was pretty ass.
that was one of my favorite Christmas memories, dude. That was so
it
funny.
was so fun.
Yeah, we did a nice little co-op competition. We lost, and then we just hung it over your heads. We're like, you guys threw away your Christmas Eve while we were with our families. Let's go.
Yeah, that was your way of justifying me swindling $20 out of you.
Yeah,
that's great.
Yeah. I think. Oh, sorry. Go on. I cut you off.
No, it's just sort of. It's just weird how like winter brings that with games and everything. Like it's just so nice to sit back and play. But you can continue with what you're.
I was gonna say I do have one tradition that I know I do, and it's every Christmas Eve I download. Because that's the time of the year where like we watch Trans-Siberian Orchestra next to the tree. My family and I. We have some Christmas cookies. And then we all just kind of retreat to our rooms for the night to then gather the next morning to open gifts together. And so I'll go in my room at like 7, 8 o'clock at night, and I'll usually just turn on my Vita and I'll game in bed and kind of like listen to Christmas music while I'm doing that. It's kind of like because then it's Christmas Day and then it's over. So it's like my last hurrah almost. Yeah. But there's something that's always been like, that's my moment, very comforting. I almost forgot about it. Because I just do it instinctually every year. Like I have a game. Right. I don't pick one out and have it beaten by that night. Like sometimes I'll play a Lego game. Sometimes I played Darkest Dungeons, I think last Christmas. Like I'll just play a random game during the holidays, specifically Christmas Eve. So for me, that's definitely I love that. I almost forgot about that. So I don't know what it's going to be this year. I have my Vita ready, charged, good to go. Maybe it'll be Mega Man. Maybe it'll be Final Fantasy X.
Dude, suddenly I'm like, that's a way better idea than what I had to say. Get on P4G and get to the winter area.
That would hit. Yeah, that would hit.
It's kind of funny I bring that up. One game that we tried to play but we didn't was Final Fantasy 14, and they have a winter celebration called the Starlight Celebration. And Matt, it's got like one of the coolest Christmas tracks. Like it's so like relaxing. I grind it every Christmas, and it just makes me want to play the game just for that. To log into an MMO, see like the Christmas decorations and stuff. Yeah,
I love MMOs that go seasonal.
Fun.
Yeah,
I know, it's so cool. Remember in Anthem when they left up their decorations?
Yeah, it was like February.
Yeah, that's so funny, bro.
Sounds like my office after Christmas. I just don't take anything down right away.
It's depressing.
I know.
It sucks.
I went to a Christmas tree store with my mom today, and we bought a ton of decorations for here. So it's going to be like, I don't know if this room specifically will be decorated. Yeah, look at that shit. That's awesome. Yeah, like we're gonna decorate it a little bit. So I don't know if this room in particular will look different because it's not like my old setup.
Dude, you gotta put a mini tree.
I gotta find a place for a tree. It's just gonna be awkward if it's like right here because it's in the whole desk area. Where with my last one, it was like off to the side and fit perfectly in the background.
You could probably put it next to the door, but in front of those posters.
Yeah,
like you have a lamp there.
That's what I was thinking about doing. Hard. I just wanted to put it in the backdrop of my videos too. But I also like had this running joke with my channel that I was not taking the Christmas tree down until like the end of January. So. We got one other super chat here from Mac. Have you guys made fun of GTA Definitive Edition? If not, can you? We will be talking about that in the news very shortly. So stay tuned for that, Mac. We appreciate your super chat.
We talked about it last week too. So if you want to go listen to that, you can.
We did. Well, let's move on. Unless you have more to say about Elder Scrolls 6.
Nope.
All right.
Got nothing.
All right. Cool. Then we move on to our other headline for this week. Activision Blizzard is absolutely blowing up right now. It has been tremendous to see. For anyone who wants to look up the channel, you'll know I've been cranking on Activision for literally years. And it's interesting because we thought about not covering this originally. The reason we did that was not to hide the story, but really because it's such a fast-moving story that what we're talking about now on Friday will most likely be different on Sunday, especially with how quick these stories reports, these scoops are coming in. Like Jason Schreier's dug up like 5 different emails at this point. And then especially by next Friday when we record, it'll be a much different arc. But then I thought, well, if not now, then when? And so we decided together, like, hey, let's talk about this. So what has happened is that Wall Street Journal has broken out a report pretty much saying that Bobby Kotick was, who's the CEO at Activision, was completely aware of what was transpiring at Activision. He had threatened to kill one of his employees, which was fucking insane to read. That there was a video message that had leaked involving him, and that he had protected one of the employees that was knowingly contributing in sexual harassment. So there was a lot here. And I highly recommend that you read the Wall Street Journal report, even though there's a paywall. But there is a ton of light shed on this situation. So we're sort of going to skim this Game Informer recap because, again, there's a paywall for Wall Street Journal. I don't know why important stories are paywalled nowadays, but they are.
That's insight. That's how they survive, Matt.
Yeah.
Journalism, it's fucking...
Yeah.
Yeah, that's how they survive. It sucks, but...
Yeah, I get it, right? But it's I
agree with you. It sucks that it's locked behind that.
I almost feel like more clicks would equal out to what they get from a sub fee, but I could be wrong.
Yeah, I agree with you there. I think so too. It's just a comfort thing, probably.
Yeah, a safety net. I get that. I run a Patreon, so I get it.
Yeah, exactly.
Wall Street Journal's report sheds light on misconduct taking place at Activision-owned studios, Treyarch and Sledgehammer Games. In the article, evidence stemming from internal documents, memos, and interviews with people close to the situation reveals several examples that Kotick had reportedly always been aware of these issues and did not inform Activision's board of directors, instead opting to settle the matters as quickly and as quietly as possible. One instance was the allegations against Treyarch co-head Dan Bunting. Bunting, who had helped spearhead the production of several Call of Duty titles, was accused of sexual harassment by a female employee after a night of drinking in 2017. According to Wall Street Journal's sources familiar with the situation, a 2019 internal investigation concluded, I'm reading way too fast, with a recommendation for Bunting's termination until Kotick intervened on his behalf, keeping him with the company while he underwent counseling. Polygon reports that Bunting resigned from Treyarch today after Wall Street Journal's reports was published. Additionally, former Sledgehammer employees were indicted in sexual misconduct investigations, according to internal information pulled by Wall Street Journal. One story centers around a supervisor who allegedly took complete advantage, we'll say, of a female employee in 2016 and 17 after pressuring her to drink heavily during work events. According to the victim's lawyer, this now former employee reported both cases to other leaders, Sledgehammer's HR, and the police, but nothing happened. Activision reportedly dealt with the perpetrator internally and apparently settled with the victim out of court, but Kotick again did not report the allegations to the board of directors, according to those knowledgeable with the situation. Wall Street Journal had also spoken to sources and reviewed documents revealing Kotick himself had been accused of mistreating women in and out of the workplace for years. These allegations include a 2006 story of an assistant who claimed Kotick harassed her and left a voicemail threatening to have her killed. In 2007, a flight attendant on a private jet co-owned by Kotick said she was fired by him after she told the jet's other owner that the pilot sexually harassed her. Kotick settled both matters out of court. Just a little bit more here. Wall Street Journal also found internal documents revealing Kotick as the person who wrote the controversial email, as shared by Kotaku, sent to employees saying California's initial lawsuit contained factually incorrect, old, and out-of-context stories. The information states he ordered Fran Townsend, a controversial female senior executive and former Bush administration official, to send it out to workers, while she garnered heavy criticism from employees and fans on social media. Kotick described the message himself as tone deaf. Townsend later resigned as the head of Activision's Women's Network, so he fucked her over big time.
Oh yeah, that was a horrible thing from her. I remember listening to it; it was bad.
Yeah, yeah. And then last bit here. Furthermore, an internal email by Jen O'Neill, Blizzard's first female co-lead who announced her resignation earlier this month, revealed her lack of faith in Activision's leadership to correct its culture issues. O'Neill, along with former BioWare lead Mike Ibarra, assumed co-leadership of Blizzard following the resignation of former president J. Allen Brack in August. O'Neill will depart Blizzard by the end of the year, which will give Ibarra full leadership of the studio. In light of this report, Activision Blizzard employees have staged an impromptu walkout today and call on Kotick to resign. And also, what's worth noting here that I don't see in the article real quick is that Jen O'Neill was not making the same amount as Mike Ibarra, even though they shared the same position. And it wasn't until she said she was leaving that they were like, okay, we'll pay you the same amount. And she was already out the door at that point in time. Kotick had responded to the Wall Street Journal report by recording a video message sent to Activision Blizzard employees. He addresses the article by saying it paints an inaccurate and misleading view of our company, of me personally, and my leadership. I want to say is that anyone who doubts my conviction to be the most welcoming, inclusive workplace doesn't really appreciate how important this is to me. Creativity and inspiration thrives best. He couldn't hold and laugh. Thrives best in a safe, welcoming, respectful environment. There's no substitute for that, and staying true to our values without exceptions is the best way to retain our talent and attract the new talent we need to achieve our great potential. As I have made clear, we are moving forward with a new zero tolerance policy for inappropriate behavior, and zero means zero. Any reprehensible conduct is simply unacceptable.
Well, that means he should resign if he has no conduct.
Yes, it appears that does not apply to him. Is what's very interesting. Wow. Since then, I've been going on for a while now, but there's a whole story about all this.
Crazy developing story.
Yeah, I just wanted to add in that both Phil Spencer and Jim Ryan have shared some thoughts internally with their companies. This is where Jason Schreier stepped in and dug up some emails. The first to go was Jim Ryan of Sony, who said that Activision has not done enough to address a deep-seated culture of discrimination and harassment. And then afterwards, we had Phil Spencer come out and follow this one up, saying that he was deeply disturbed and troubled by the latest Activision reports. But what was most interesting is that he said that they are evaluating their relationship currently with Activision. And then Activision responded saying that we respect all the feedback from our valued partners and are engaging with them further. We have detailed important changes we have implemented in recent weeks, and we will continue to do so. We are committed to the work of ensuring our culture and workplace are safe, diverse, and inclusive. We know that it will take time, but we will not stop until we have the best workplace for our team. So I've talked a lot there. I want to dish it to you real quick. Of course, I think the question is rhetorical, but it'll open up the door for you to go more deep. How are we feeling about all of this?
I just imagine being a female employee at Activision or Blizzard, knowing other female employees, possibly your friends, people who you know, you've worked with, or stories you've heard, have experienced like sexual harassment, misconduct, or murder threats, and nothing came out of it. No police, no one got fired. It was all settled out of court, which basically means, here's a bunch of money, shut up, or you're fired. I don't know, like it's scary. It scares me, and like I just can't imagine being one of those women. It sounds like as a man, like speaking about it sounds like virtue signaling or whatever, but it really is that horrific. Being and I imagine harrowing in a position like that, knowing like either your livelihood or like your dignity or whatever, you know. And I feel like the stars are aligning for me right now because I fucking hate Activision. And not that any of this news is good. This is all horrific, but I think it's good that it's coming out. On top of other things like Call of Duty not selling well. I think there's going to be a huge shift in Activision, and it needs to happen because clearly this is a huge stinking problem in Activision, and this is like sort of a problem. I wouldn't even say tech, just STEM for women in general. Like getting into STEM is just super hard for them. There's a lot of mistreatment with women in technology and all sorts of male-dominated fields. But stories like this just really expose that. Like you have the wage gap thing. A lot of people think the wage gap is a myth. Whether or not you believe it or disbelieve it, here's a clear example of it right in front of you that you can't dispute.
It's
right?
so unreal. I don't know how it's like surreal that I saw that after what had happened. I'm like, you guys didn't just think like, let's just pay her the right amount, so at least even if you don't fucking believe in it, just so you avoid this headache. You'd think that they at least do that. Sorry,
They're
continue.
doing
You're on a roll.
Exact same thing, and and she's getting paid less. And like, I'm not gonna say like, oh, the Activision people are sexist, but in my head, like, if that was a man, would that be happening? I don't know, because you don't hear these stories from like men, two different men getting separate pay. Like, it doesn't come out, and maybe that's because it's newsworthy. I don't know, but it's just it's sad, and I do think in Activision or like tech companies, game dev companies, they are male dominated. So that's if people get mad about like, oh, this team isn't diverse enough. This is why. This is why. If there were more women working at Activision, more women in higher up positions, this stuff wouldn't be happening. And if it was happening, they wouldn't get away with it, because women will look out for each other, because they know what it's like to be harassed or catcalled, or someone rubs their hand up against you. It's disgusting. And I don't know. I don't have much else to say about it. I hope that Bobby Kotick, not only does I hope he resigns, I hope he gets like some legal trouble for threatening someone's life. Like, what?
Yeah.
Like, dude, and the last thing I was gonna say, his response was horrific. You don't respect me, and if you think I'm not a welcome, like, what?
Yeah.
Dude, no, you're like, no matter what, even if like, God forbid, Bobby Kotick actually was like totally in the clear and he didn't do shit, but he did. Memos show that he did. But if he didn't, the correct response is like, sorry if I've hurt anybody, offended anybody. I want to investigate this, and then he'll tell his side. But instead, he makes it about him, and it just goes to show like, I shouldn't be working here. Activision stocks are plummeting, their games aren't selling, and I'm happy this is happening.
Yeah. It's really fascinating that, I cranked on Activision for years in early videos because they just sell you the same recycled bullshit constantly, right? It's amazing almost that this same place that released toxic games, in my eyes, is also internally very toxic.
Yeah, isn't that weird?
Right? And it's weird because it never really lines up. Like, I think of something like Godfall. Like, I don't think Gearbox published it, but I forgot who developed it. But I don't think like whoever worked on Godfall is necessarily a toxic workplace. So it's just, again, a special type of irony that the company I think is releasing the most trash is also very trashy. What's unfortunate about this is when they do release games now, is there are innocent people who didn't do anything that get caught in effectively a crossfire here. Activision games are forever stained. Forever. This is not something that just goes away. There are people who are smart enough to exactly. That's the thing. We will be smart enough down the line to remember what happened. Hopefully they move by this and see a game that's exciting and, again, separate the two. A new era, hopefully, right? An era like I grew up in where Activision was pretty decent. That was when they were like pumping out Tony Hawk games and stuff. But I just find it so fascinating that the shareholders have refused to take him down. And it shows, it's something we talked about a lot on Ham Radio podcast, was Dustin and I about the obligation of shareholders and you have to make money. And he's a piece of shit, but he's, I guess, good at his job, right? He's made Activision a ton of money. And it shows
dirty money.
Absolutely dirty money. But it shows to them how much that matters above all else.
Right.
Is that they will not remove him. And I understand like waiting for evidence, hearing both sides of the story. I respect that. But we've got clear memos here.
This has been brushed under the rug, settled out of court, out of the public view. So this isn't we just want to make sure, innocent until proven guilty, which I'm a believer in. I think most people are. This is definitely more of a, hey, we're Bobby, you're doing great. You're making a ton of cash. We don't care if you touch someone. It's fine.
Yeah, it's weird, man.
Also, just to answer someone's question in chat, William Stanley said the wage gap thing is horrible, but he made a good point that sometimes someone might be working in the same position as someone, but they've been there for more years. And that's why they might be making more. From what I read, I don't know if you read this, Matt, they were both working under contract and they started working at the same time. Okay. That's what I read. I don't know if it's true.
Yes, that is true.
I saw it reported.
Yeah. I know Mikey Barr was definitely like a recent. I don't know much about Jen O'Neill, but I know Mikey Barr was like recent.
Yeah, and he also he's not like he doesn't choose how much he gets paid. He was advocating for her to get paid as much as he does. Yeah. So that's an answer to your
again. Because no one wants to get caught in the crossfire at this point, so everyone's going to put on their best looks.
yeah. I mean that's true, but Stanley, that's to answer your question. And yeah, Matt, it sucks. It makes me worried. Like, do you think are we going to see more stories coming out from other game dev companies like this?
Yeah,
I would hope not, but
it began with Ubisoft. Now it's really carried into Activision, where we see there was like this frat level culture, right?
yeah,
And I do think we're going to see more. I think what I've gathered is, and this isn't even, by the way, just a video game industry problem. It is a societal thing. You learn. You learn. I'll be honest. Like when I started dating my girlfriend almost 4 years ago now, you start to learn more about that perspective on life.
you do.
And a lot more, and you start to understand those things, like little things, like we intentionally, when we park in a dark lot, I don't think twice about parking in the back. I just need my spot and I go in. When Laylee and I are in the car together, we park close. Like it's just little things like that you learn about, really. And
It's crazy.
it is. And so this is a problem for women in general. Again, not to echo what you said, it's not really virtue signaling when we're talking about quality of life for people, and just imagine, I don't know how to say it, but just existing and someone's
And being
barking at
scared.
you constantly. Yeah, it's weird.
Yeah.
It's like you didn't do anything. And
You're a female.
Yeah.
And what sucks about it too is like I have the exact same experience. I know we've like talked about this before. Like when I started dating Maya, my girlfriend, you sort of see their perspective and see like the shit they have to put up with. Like I was walking through a dark park in winter in Canada where my girlfriend lives, and she's like, I feel so much safer that you're here, not because like I'm not a big strong guy. I'm a skinny dude. I'm like short and skinny. But she's like, just because you're a man, like people won't mess with us. And it just sucks, right? Like
yeah.
It's gotta suck being a girl and dealing with that. And like I really do think it sounds dumb, but like when you date a girl and she's like open and expressive about the things she's experienced, you do learn, and it helps you sort of see that perspective. I think that's important. Like I think seeing the other side is important, and understanding what you can do as the guy, because you'll see like Twitter posts, like let's say a woman expresses her experience, and the first thing you'll see from men in the replies is, well, not all guys. It's like, yeah, but that doesn't mean anything. If you're a man, you see, like they're gonna see you, and their first thought is gonna be what happened to them, right?
Yeah.
And it sucks, but that's just how it is. So saying like, oh, not all guys are like that, like, yeah, no shit, but that doesn't make a difference. You got to call out your boys, and Bobby Kotick's boys are not calling him out right now.
Yeah, good friends hold each other accountable, and certainly are not doing that here. Yeah, I find it disappointing, and to tail it back, yeah, it's obviously a games industry problem. I think we'll see more here. I remember like last year around my birthday, there was this very strong movement of like women ousting harassers. And then we're seeing a wave of that again. I think we'll see a wave again next year. Like they continue to kind of move toxic people along. And I think
It's
with
good.
our generation kind of moving up, people are aware enough now which is, by the way, something that should be just taught as a kid, how you should treat women, how you should speak to one another, how you
It's
should
not
interact.
true. I mean, some people grow up and they see how their dad treats them. Even if how the mom treats the dad, like it's not a one-sided thing. Like women can definitely treat men like shit, but that's besides the point. Like they think that's normal, and that's people will grow up into that. And when you're surrounded by your friends, you don't have a lot of female friends, or you haven't had like a long-term girlfriend, you're surrounded by your boys and your frat or whatever, and it's like an echo chamber in a way, right? Like it's weird, but when you do sort of see like the experiences of women or speak to them, it changes your perspective.
Yeah,
and you can
certainly.
understand it.
I'll be the first to admit, man, like that it's about openness when that opportunity comes your way. So again, it's not like I was not by any stretch of the imagination anti-woman, but I certainly was not.
Exactly.
I was not aware
You're not
of
doing enough.
Yeah, exactly. I
Like,
wasn't
you
aware
don't know.
of what it was. And I get it. Like, I get it. Look, I was like 20 when I was learning about this. I get it. Some of us pick it up late. Like, I'll be the first to say it. Like, I know some people are hesitant to say that because they're like, well, if I say that, I look like I was a piece of shit for 20 years beforehand. It's like, no, you don't. Like, some of us pick it up late. Some of us understand those perspectives late. I remember, like, Gone Home was a pretty transformative experience for me when I played that in high school because you just don't understand those perspectives until it's told to you in a unique way. In my case, one was human interaction, one was a video game. Like, it's okay to pick up the ball late, but of course it's about openness. And I just hope that with gaming that we clean it up. Because I know there's a whole issue amongst
we see in society
politics in general. Yeah, like
politics,
not to care. Yeah,
tech, whatever.
There's a split amongst us in a lot of ways. And I think it's fair to get annoyed with representation of points of views in our industry not being equal. I think that is entirely fair. But I always kind of I hate to say draw the line. It's so fucking cheesy, but I think there's a line that's really drawn at the idea of like we're treating each other like shit. And and again, if a woman is a piece of shit and you want to treat her like shit, that's one thing. And I don't mean degrade her like Bobby Kotick has done or anyone amongst Activision has done. But if you want to say like,
or threaten to murder
yes,
them.
exactly. But if you want to kind of give back what you've received in attitude, sure. But when we're talking about you are just a woman, fuck you, I'm paying you less because I don't care. It's like we got to be better than that at the end of the day.
Yeah. It just sucks. I don't know if I have much else to say about it. I hope Activision changes their shit. And
yeah, we just got 2 super chats and we'll move on from the topic there. We've definitely given it enough attention. Zachary Fluke wrote in saying, thank you guys for talking about this and for talking about it. Honestly, this is my first time here on the podcast and it's been a breath of fresh air. It's our pleasure, Zachary. Thank you for tuning in. We're happy to have you here and we're happy to tackle this. I thought that was a good chat. And then Keith Braunstein said, I just got my Series X bundle from Microsoft. Good shit. Good time to get one as well. And we hope we did a good job with this topic. This is our first time tackling something pretty significant and serious. So, of course, constructive criticism is always welcome.
It's a gaming podcast, but this is an issue in gaming and all kinds of stuff. So it's worth talking about. I wonder who said they got an Xbox bundle. I wonder if they got the Master Chief one.
It was Keith Braunstein. He just said Series X bundle from Microsoft. So I don't know if that was the Halo one or not.
I hope so. That one's pretty cool.
All right. Well, Zachary, welcome. Keith, congrats. And thank you, everyone, for listening as we move on to not positive news, but at least not as negative as what we're talking about here, which is Halo Infinite. So we said we were going to talk about the Battle Pass. It's definitely been talked about a lot on the notion of just how poorly put together it was. Fortunately, 343 has detailed changes coming to this Battle Pass. They said to address feedback, we'll be making targeted tunings to our model later this week, which is out now as you're listening. We'll be adding play one game challenges to make sure you consistently progress by playing the matches however you want. They said they'll also be adjusting, fixing bugs with, and removing some weekly challenges as well based off player feedback. Challenge difficulty will be tuned to help players compete for weekly challenges in a much quicker manner. When we make this update, you'll need to reset, or it'll reset your challenges. So if you have yet to check that out, just know they will be reset, including your progress towards weekly ones. To make up for this reset, we'll be granting this week's ultimate reward, the Sigil Mark 7 visor, to everyone who logs in from November 23rd to November 30th. The duration of double XP boost has been increased from 30 minutes to 1 hour. However, a little asterisk here that they do not mention is that they still count that timer down when you're in a lobby, which is fucking stupid because both you and I had our double XP.
It's so dumb.
Yeah, they expired while we were in lobbies, which really sucks.
We were waiting for our friend to restart the game because his game bugged out and our double XP went away.
Yeah, which is stupid. It shouldn't even, like, it sucks that his game bugged out, but it shouldn't have even been a problem in the first place.
Even Call of Duty, I'm pretty sure it counts down only in game.
Yeah.
Come on, that's like such an easy fix. Like, fix that shit.
I agree. So we know the progression's bad. We've alluded to that early on. It's been talked about across like tons of videos. I've done one, like a ton of podcasts, all that stuff.
I wrote a feature on it.
You did? Okay.
It's insane.
Is it on Tech Raptor? People able to check it out?
Yeah, it's I jumped into something I saw not a lot of people talking about. So if you're interested in that, you go give it a read.
Okay, cool. Can they find it on your Twitter?
Yeah, it's my journalism portfolio is on my Twitter, but if you scroll down, it's in I posted it somewhere. It's like a few days ago.
Okay, cool. Just want to make sure people can connect with you, find what you're working on.
Yeah, I've had a few people come out like from the show and like say like, "Oh, I like your stuff," and it's cool because I haven't got that attention before with my writing anyway.
Dude, it's well deserved.
I appreciate that sort of thing. Yeah.
What do you think about the progression changes? Do you think they're better now with the weekly tunings?
I think it's a good quick fix, but it's not a good long-term fix. But I don't expect them to put out a long-term fix in a few days. So I don't want to say anything negative about it because it really, based on like that description, I don't think there's a negative thing to say about it. They put out a fix really quick because people are really mad. I don't know about you, Matt, but I really just didn't want to play the game. Like I
It
would
was
do like
hard.
a 20,
It was like a tug of war.
it's like I'm not getting progression for this. I'm like I don't want to say wasting my time because I was having fun, but I know if I just waited and played when they fixed it, then I would be getting XP per match, and I did, and now I'm getting at least 50, and it's not a crazy amount, but that on top of the challenges, which we've both noticed are a lot easier, and less niche. Like I don't have to do something very specific that might not be able to happen on a certain map.
Yeah.
For the most part, a lot of the challenges are very accomplishable. Like usually they're just get a kill with this weapon or get a few kills with that one, capture a point, complete this kind of match, and it's welcome. It's a good change for sure.
Absolutely. Yeah, I agree with you. It is a great quick fix. It's probably one of the better quick fixes I've actually ever seen because of how it adjusts so fast to what we really needed to see from the game, at least in the short term. So I was impressed by that. Again, I don't know if this is true full carryover from the flight test. I'm guessing it was because they said during the flight test waypoints they were already working on it. But I was definitely satisfied with the weekly challenges. I went from level 6 to 10 last night in my battle pass, which is what I wanted to see. You know, we put in a good 4 or 5 hours in, and I wanted to see that represented. So if I'm leveling up in the battle pass once per hour, that's a pretty good ratio for one that's available all the way till May. So I'm personally cool with that. Definitely looking forward to playing more of it. I do hope that I hope that there's more dailies that you can get, because what's my issue is, I get 50 XP per match. That's fucking stupid. Once my weeklies are up, which by the way, now with the issue here is now that you've fine-tuned the weekly challenges so they're easier to churn through, is once those are done, you have to wait for the refresh. So I kind of don't want to play if those challenges aren't there to acquire. So I think there's
only a certain amount you can complete a week.
Yeah, because they refresh, and my refresh counter was at about like, I think 3 days or something like that, right? So I was talking to Tyler about this when he was here before the show. And so they don't refresh until the week is up. And I have my set of challenges for tonight, which is like 4, and I have 2 left in the tank. And one of them is stupid. It's like, I think it's destroy 5 banshees or some shit like that. And I don't have any challenge swaps. So I have to just go through that, and then I'm done. And I might not finish them all, but again, then it becomes the point where, let's say I finish all my challenges by Thursday or Friday, there has to be at least a decent amount of dailies there, I think, to compel me to sign on every day to play. Do I need to? No, I'll still progress through the battle pass playing it weekly, but something's got to be there for the day-to-day player.
Yeah, it sucks because like the daily challenge, I think, was supposed to be like an actual daily challenge, but now they just made it a challenge you always have, which is 50 XP per match, and I think that's sort of part of the quick fix thing. But I honestly want to see like just challenges that everybody has, like milestone challenges, like, oh, you've got 100 kills total. Here's 100 XP, and then it becomes 500 kills, and then you get 250 XP. Because that can push you through the battle pass. Although the only issue with that is, like, if Season 2 Battle Pass came out, you already hit those milestones. So maybe they could make it almost, this is sort of like derivative, but they could make it like Season 1 get 100 kills or whatever.
Right.
But yeah, no, I think the progression still needs a lot of substantial changes, but this is a good Band-Aid. It's a good Band-Aid for a problem that was immediately affecting the game. It was probably the most feedback they got, like the most critical feedback. Once they focus on this, then they can hone in on some of the other issues. Like for us, it's the environmental variety lacking.
Yeah.
And for other people, it might be, I don't know. I've noticed some of the weapons, like they all feel great, but some of them are just not worth picking up. Like I think it's the plasma carbine, where it shoots like a burst of like 4 shots. It's just like I'd like to see them change to that. And the wasp is really overpowered. If you get 2 wasps, if your enemy has 2 wasps, like they grab yours from their base or from your base,
it's
and
just,
they grab theirs.
Yeah, those things are
it's not
so
fun.
good.
It's so annoying.
Yeah, it's like an attack chopper in COD. Like,
yeah,
you're dead.
they shoot rockets, so you can't use your own vehicles to combat them because
they're
rockets
fast.
and they're really fast. A grappling hook is a good way to get rid of them, but oftentimes people just fly high up in the air and you can't do
Yep.
anything about it. We have a super chat from Ben Dover. He said, "Battle Pass aside, compared to Vanguard and Battlefield 2042, it's a breath of fresh air to play, something that feels polished and new." Well, from my experience, and I totally agree with Ben Dover here. I think, especially when you compare it to Vanguard and 2042, this game is just, it's the shit. I mean,
Yeah.
in relative comparison to those two,
yeah,
it's night and
yeah,
day.
it's certainly not a high bar to cross. I don't know. I didn't think Battlefield
Yeah.
looked or played too bad when I previewed it. I have not played the final product. It was definitely buggy, but I think
saw it. I
Halo is
didn't
just
like what I
a class above on its own. Sorry, continue.
Yeah. No, I was just saying it looked a lot like COD and less like Battlefield to me, which not modern COD, but like older, I guess like Black Ops 2. And
Right.
I wasn't a fan of it. I wanted more Battlefield 4 basically.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, no, Battlefield and COD, they're not doing as hot as Halo, and I'm a fan because I like Halo.
Yeah, yeah. I think they're just clearly in separate classes as of this moment in time, and that's probably why they shadow dropped this multiplayer. Is they just knew this was going to be. Once they saw the Vanguard reviews and they already knew that Battlefield was buggy, and they were like, "Yeah, there's no way this gets fixed in time." I think they just pulled the trigger. Like this was definitely a on the table idea for a while.
It's like a critical blow, right?
Yeah.
Like they saw their enemy was on the ground, they're just gonna go kick them and throw their game on the ground so people pick it up. I'm interested to see Battlefield sales because Call of Duty is already underperforming, but Call of Duty always does better than Battlefield. So Battlefield must be tanking it. I don't know for sure. I could
Game
be wrong,
Pass.
but I haven't seen a single person play Battlefield. Like in my friends list, I don't know anybody who's been playing it other than the beta though.
Because Battlefield was like, it went from I gotta play this to once you heard about the bugs and stuff, and I saw a ton of bugs. It was like, all right, this might be, we'll see about this. And then it comes out some problems beyond that some people, I don't know, people always complain about Battlefield, and I'm not trying to dismiss criticism, just I feel like people always complain about Battlefield where I don't run a mile with like the things that people find issues with in the gameplay, because I think the core gameplay is actually really fun. Especially Battlefield Portal looks awesome. I don't know how much is there, but it looks awesome. So I have to look into the actual content offering there because they chose to remove a campaign to do all of this. But yeah, I think Halo Infinite's just the multiplayer wave right now, and rightfully so. Oh yeah, and then as Zoe mentioned in chat, Specialist Systems in 2042. Which is definitely that was a huge turnoff when I saw that, because you could see people through the walls. I couldn't fucking believe that.
It's weird because like they don't have to fix the wheel. Battlefield 4, I didn't play 5. I played Battlefield 1. The labeling of these games is just awful.
Yeah, right. Didn't like 5 come after 1 or something?
5 came after 1, and then you had Hardline before 1, and then now it's 2042.
Right.
It's weird. But Specialists, like, can you just give us like our classes and just call it Battlefield? That's all we want.
Just remake Battlefield 3 and they'll be just fine.
If Battlefield 3 and 4, like if you want your definitive Battlefield experiences, go play that. Battlefield 4, I'm telling you, it's on Game Pass because of EA. I think you get all the DLCs. They have an insane amount of weapons, maps, solid gameplay. It runs really well. It's just a great game.
Right.
And until Battlefield matches that, I probably won't picking one up. Portal sounds really cool. I will say that.
If they do Game Pass, I would download and play it for sure.
Yeah, no, for sure. But it's like, why are they just? I don't understand what goes through their heads. I'm like, we gotta put Specialists in here. Like,
they did too much, I think.
Yeah, but like Specialists was like a big hype thing when Overwatch came out. You know, Call of Duty was doing like Specialists, and they had the same game mode where you push the cart just like in Overwatch, and it's like they're already like behind on that. I don't know why they're.
I don't know what wave they thought they were catching on that one. It just felt so out of place, because like you can't even look at as an example like oh my god, what's the game? Rainbow Six Siege. Like you couldn't look at that.
Yeah, that's another one
as an example, because like that's in a class of its own. Literally, like it's
nobody does a game like Siege.
Yeah, exactly. It's just its own hardcore thing. It's the one good thing Ubisoft did. I remember playing that a ton, man. That was a good game.
It was a lot of fun. I love Siege. Siege had my friends had like a big Siege like wave where they just grinded it out. The Specialists are great in that game. Although I heard recently that it kind of been falling off. I mean, these games that
They
last such
lasted
a long
way
time.
longer than they ever expected. So
Yeah, when these games last for so long, there's only so much changes they can do before they do a change that people don't like,
yeah,
and it really ruins the game. Like in
absolutely.
Overwatch, they've changed that game so many times. If you played
Mhm.
base game Overwatch to now, not even with the new characters, but with like the just the gameplay changes, it's
Yeah.
insane.
All right, we still got some more news to churn through here. Let's turn our attention to multiverses.
Multiverses.
All right, so this is a new free-to-play platform fighter coming from Warner Bros. Games that features Batman, Shaggy, Bugs Bunny, Arya Stark, Steven Universe, Superman. It's fucking wild. Obviously, we got to give our hot take on this one. What are you feeling about this?
Dude, the fact that Arya Stark can go up against Shaggy is enough for me.
Yeah.
And it's free. Matt, we were cooking you up for this. The Nicktoons fighters, whatever the fuck you want to call it, this is 10 times better. I'm sorry, that's just fact. I mean, this is basically Cartoon Network too, because you got Finn, Jake from Adventure Time, you got Steven Universe in there, and there's nothing from Regular Show, but I want to see some Regular Show rep because I'm a big Regular Show guy. I don't know if you've seen it, Matt.
No.
You've never. Wow.
No.
You might have been like a little older because you're older than me, but Regular Show is a really, really good Cartoon Network show. But yeah, it's exciting, and I'm glad it's free. I don't know if you read up much up on it, but they're doing a 2v2 type way of approaching it. Like Smash is like pretty much 1v1.
Mhm.
You can play it in different ways, but they're saying like this is all about how you can interact with your partner and how your
Yeah.
moves and abilities can work together. I think they used Arya Stark being able to take people's faces and put them on herself, and they compared it and said that you can interact with Superman's laser vision in a way. I don't know how that would work, but that was something they said. So
I
don't
saw
know.
one where Batman used like a grapple, and I think he pulled someone back off the stage that was on his team. So there's stuff like that too. I didn't know that. I thought this was going to be like a one-on-one platform fighter. So this is all
it's
co-op almost.
Yeah, it's like 2v2s, which is why when I first heard about it, I was like, oh, great, another Smash clone that's going to suck and not be Smash. But this sounds a little different, and like they're trying to take Smash and spice it up in their own way. I mean, you have some fucking amazing characters in there, so I'm a fan of it, and it's free, so I'm going to play it.
And we already know, since this is, it was leaked, we saw a part of the character roster. And then we see most of that roster confirmed, like Gandalf's going to be in this, which is going to be really cool to see.
Rick and Morty.
Yeah, Rick and Morty's going to be in here. We've already heard, oh my God, who was it? Apparently, like LeBron James is going to be in it as a character.
Yeah, like this is like a genuine crossover.
Yeah,
like,
I like that they got
nothing.
the authentic voices. Like they got Kevin Conroy for Batman. I thought that was really awesome to see. They got Matthew Lillard as Shaggy. That was also really, really fucking cool.
That's a big one.
Yeah, like
you must be a big fan of that, huh?
Yes, I am. I am. And I do like that they've gone to this length. That's the one thing I did not like about Nick All Stars is they needed to get those voices. They made a really fun fighter, but they did not get the little quips and the personalities in there. And the writing was weird in the arcade mode. I got the platinum still though. Shout out to Nick All Stars.
Someone put a mod out for that game that like they added voices and apparently just added so much life to the game. That's so weird to omit for like a fighter. There's no voices.
I know. And that's the thing. I do worry, though. I was hoping they would make this paid for. They didn't. Just because what Halo Infinite taught me is, like, free-to-play sounds good until you get it, and it's very rare unless it's a behemoth. Like, I think something such as League of Legends, I play that free-to-play. I could get the full experience there, no dollars spent, no problem. That's fine.
Yeah.
But, like, something new is always going to monetize somewhat aggressively, put the carrot at the end of the stick somewhere, because if they don't, people are just going to take full advantage of it. So I was a little disappointed to see free to play because I think of like Brawlhalla is pretty solid, but I do think of now with the situation Halo Infinite where it's like, I wish I could have paid $30 for this and not had to worry about your progression system at all.
Yeah, I agree. And I also sort of see it like I've played a lot of Modern Warfare, and they still had a battle pass in that game, and you still had to buy it. And I granted it was a lot better, and the progression wasn't asked, and they actually had ranking systems, which Infinite doesn't have for some reason. I almost feel as if it's just sort of like an inevitability at this point.
Yeah.
Like if Multiverses came out, they would have costumes that were still paid for, which sucks. But that's how people monetize games now. So that's the reality of it.
Looked a little slow too to me, but we'll see about that. That all changes when
Yeah.
you control it. But what I saw, like the actual
mechanics.
animations looked very slow.
Yeah, that's my main concern with any game that's cloning Smash because they do it so well. Everything about Smash is really fun. You feel rewarding when you get a nice wallop in and they go flying.
Yeah.
I didn't play Nicktoons Fighters or what is it called? I don't
Nick
think I have it
All-Stars.
right. Nick All Stars. Okay, I don't know why I keep saying Toons Fighters because I don't give a fuck about that game. um, when I watched of it, it looked like a Unity game to
Or
me.
Nick All-Stars Brawl, sorry.
Okay, yeah. It just looked like a Unity game that like was unfinished. It looked so bad. Like even the UI for the characters. Like you paid how much for that game, Matt?
40.
Yeah, L.
Without a second thought.
I wouldn't pay 40. I wouldn't pay for that game. It should be free, like Multiverses.
I don't know, because it's a genuinely good fighter. That's the funny part. It actually is.
No.
It actually is fun as fuck to play. Like I really had a good time with it. The speed of it reminds me of Melee. Like I'm surprised some of our group wasn't attached to it. I was like, dude, this is a fast fighting game. Like I remember when we played Smash when Sora came out after I went from Nick All Stars and I went, whoa, this feels a little slow. Hold up, I got to adjust.
Yeah.
Like there was a huge difference in speed that I got to shout out, man.
Yeah, I can respect that. That's why Multiverses has the potential to like really, if they shift it up or change it up, and they already sound like they're doing it with the 2v2 stuff. It can get really interesting.
Well, that'll be coming out in 2022, so we'll see it then. Let's keep it moving here. Dragon Ball Breakers. Just want to talk about this quickly. It was announced it's coming from Dimps, the studio that made us Dragon Ball Xenoverse. This game's also coming 2022. PlayStation 5, Xbox Series consoles, PS4, Xbox One, Switch, and PC. It is an asymmetrical Dragon Ball game, which means it's 7v1 in this case, where you could like play as Cell and hunt down all players on the map. I just want to talk about this for 2 seconds because I don't know. I love that they're experimenting with Dragon Ball because you always expect like an arena fighter or some type of 3D shit. I like that they're doing something new, but after going all year with no new Dragon Ball games because they got to do a new one every year because of the license, this is what they come out with. I was so sorely like, I feel like it's because I watch a lot of Dragon Ball YouTubers and a lot of them always stream and they're always like doing pack openings like, oh, that's lit. I like them, right? I watch them for a reason. I enjoy them. But I feel like they built this game for them. Like, stream this, please. Please make this popular. I don't know. I see it for that and that only. It did not, to me, look like a game that was... It looked... I mean, that's what's weird. Multiverses looked like it had a higher budget than this game. Like, it looked choppy and weird. So, I don't know. Did you take a chance to check things out?
I'm not a Dragon Ball fan at all. I've never have been. But... I don't know. It makes sense that they're trying something new. I mean, they're coming off of what was the last one? Kakarot? Is that the last Dragon Ball game?
Was but it was by a different studio. That was by the people who made Demon Slayer. Actually, yeah.
Oh, okay. Well, in any case, that's the last game that Dragon Ball had, right? So,
yes.
And that was like that didn't do insanely well, from what I understand. Wasn't it sort of a little underwhelming?
Yeah, it was fun. It was authentic in a lot of ways, but it definitely lacked depth, which a lot of Dragon Ball games do. That's why games like Attack of the Saiyans and what was the other Dragon Ball game? Fusions. Like those games that actually had depth are loved by fans, but they just barely do those anymore.
Yeah. Yeah, that's it sucks when your favorite IP is sort of like, or one of your favorite IPs is like dead in the water, especially with Dragon Ball, where it's not traditionally a video game IP. It's like, I guess what did it start off as? Was it?
Oh, it's no. That's the thing. It's the difference of where you and I grew up. Dragon Ball as a video game series is like Budokai Tenkaichi. Like these are super popular. Yeah, like they've always been like about games. Like their shows are popular too, but yeah, they've always been about games.
Okay. Well, in any case, I'll give it a try, or I'll give it a look more so, and see if like closer when it's coming out, to see if it's something I'm interested in. But I think I played Dragon Ball Xenoverse 2 or something. Just I don't know. I've never been a fan of Dragon Ball. I don't think I'm a huge fan of the art style, which sucks because we're both going into Chrono Trigger soon. But I don't know. It just doesn't appeal to me that much.
Right. Well, time will tell. I just want to talk about it very briefly there and just voice some of my displeasure with it for all 5 people who care about my take on Dragon Ball. All right, next one we got here is Saints Row reboot being delayed to 2022 in the summer. It was originally supposed to come out in February next year. It's been delayed. The pandemic claims another studio and its game. I'm not really bothered by this. Of course, delays are, to be expected, but I wasn't high on the hit parade for Saints Row. Do you have any emotions that you're experiencing for this delay?
No, I kind of forgot it existed, and I'm sure there's like a Saints Row fan in the chat who's like, "Fuck you guys," but but I played Saints Row 3. I was one of the people who really liked 4 and Get Out of Hell. I thought they're hilarious, even though they're definitely a big departure from 1 and 2.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know. Like, I guess I have to see it before I have like any sort of interest whatsoever.
Yeah, I didn't like what I saw.
I'm not attached to the IP, so already they're like, you got that, but it's like people are saying "fuck you guys" in chat. I respect it. Yeah, no, I don't know. I'm just I'm happy they're delaying it because that means they have stuff to work on and they're not going to release a broken, buggy game. But just don't be Crackdown 3 and delay it to the point where it's in development hell, because we saw that game come out and that was
yeah, that was a game. It certainly was. Yeah, with Saints Row, I would love to see them go back to basics. That's what I was hoping for when they announced this almost soft reboot of the series. I was really crossing my fingers that they were going to do something like Saints Row 1 or 2, where of course nowadays people really associate it with the goofiness, and that's fine, but 1 and 2, I remember, were like always maligned for being these GTA clones, but they did a lot of cool things. And I feel like with GTA clearly being off the shelf for another, I'd say 4 or 5 years until GTA 6 rolls around, right?
Probably longer than that.
They had a huge opportunity here to rid themselves of those comparisons, because they were releasing Saints Row 1 and 2 amidst GTA 4 and 5. And of course, I thought a lot of criticism was earned there, but now they had a chance to kind of go back and be like, all right, there's a big vacancy because they're just doing GTA Online. They did Red Dead. We've got some time. Let's do this. And they went to this more goofy look again, which I don't know. I'm not crazy about anymore.
Yeah, I don't really understand the vision with this game. Like, I don't know what they're going for, but I can smell like cheesy jokes that just don't land from a mile away.
Take a look at the reveal trailer. You'll see how accurate you are.
Yeah, it doesn't sound very appealing to me. But if those of you who are excited, just know your delay is for the greater good.
Yes.
Okay. It'll make your game better.
Yes.
100%.
Absolutely. All right, so that's what's going on with Saints Row. Last bit of news that we're going to churn through here. Oh, shit. Here we go again. Rockstar is bringing back the original GTA games, and they have announced more fixes for the definitive edition. Again, this comes from good old Game Informer. In an announcement on its website, the developer, Rockstar, explains the decision. The updated versions of these classic games did not launch in a state that meets our own standards of quality or the standards our fans have come to expect. Owners of the PC edition of the remaster through the Rockstar Store are being taken care of. Rockstar says that they will be adding the classic PC versions of GTA 3, Vice City, and San Andreas back to the Rockstar Store shortly as a bundle. Anyone who has purchased GTA The Trilogy Definitive Edition for PC from the Rockstar Store through June 30th, 2022 will receive these classic versions at no additional cost. They also plan to release many more fixes for the game as well, addressing the technical issues and improving the game moving forward. A new title update is on the way in the coming days for all versions of GTA The Trilogy Definitive Edition that will address a number of issues. So yeah, this is this year's Cyberpunk. It's so weird to be on the other side of it, right? And with Cyberpunk, I was like in the bubble, experiencing it all. This time, I'm just like, yeah, I'm out here chilling, just watching this all crumble.
What's weird to me is the fact that they removed it from the storefronts anyway. That was a dumb play, and it just sounds like they're trying to force people to to pick up the trilogy. But it's like, as far as I'm concerned, I've never seen a remaster come out, because Steam isn't like like other consoles where like a remaster comes the next generation, and that's when you get it, and it's like only for that generation. Um, like Steam, it's always there because Steam is just always around.
Mhm.
So I've never seen a company come out and remove the older title because they put
sorry, real quick. It's because it's on the Rockstar game store only. The GTA Definitive Edition isn't on Steam. It's only on Rockstar's like own launcher. Sorry.
Well,
Continue.
still, regardless, it's still weird because it still plays into, because Rockstar isn't like a generational thing. It's just PC is PC, right?
Right.
It's always there. So I think that's a shitty move from Rockstar to remove it in the first place. So I'm happy they put it back. But man, this game is getting mishandled so much, and it's a Rockstar like this. They're known for their pedigree, man. That's what they're known for. They're known for their good shit. So I haven't touched it, and I'm glad I didn't because I was like, oh, I might play it during the winter or something. I wasn't on the edge of my seat waiting for this, and it looks like I'm being rewarded for that. So thank you, Rockstar.
Yeah,
thank you for that.
It's interesting because this comes from Grove Street Games, which is a great name for a studio.
Yeah,
but
they're stationed where I live.
Oh, really?
Really?
I do remember you saying that last week. Actually, now that you mention it, yeah. That's interesting. That makes a lot of sense too. But
okay.
I thought that one was gonna go right over your head. I was like, let's see how I could smoothly transition.
I was thinking, and I was like,
Yeah.
Someone in chat said AR Games said they also removed it from the PSN store.
Yes, they did.
So that's interesting.
Yeah. So
wow.
and based off what I read of the news blog earlier today, they did not put that back up. They just put up the PC version. So there's a lot of work to go here.
Why are they doing this, man? Rockstar, just keep it. Like, let people play the old version if they want.
Yeah, it's weird. Like, they get the money anyway. Like, why are you jamming people to like this little short squeeze of a remaster?
It sucks too because this is an old game. So like, those physical copies aren't going to be around forever. Like, you won't be able to play that experience. Like, if you can't find a physical and you can't buy it off their marketplace, you're forced to emulate it if you want the original.
Right. But anyway, that's what's going on with GTA. I just think it's kind of hilarious. You know, I was going to say embarrassing, but I like Cyberpunk, and that came out pretty broken. So, you know, I just think that what has happened here with Rockstar, it's like it shows that every year there's like that game. Like what was the last year? I think 2019, or was it? Yeah, it was 2019. I think we had like Warcraft 3 Reforged. Like there's always that game that's horrible, broken, buggy, review bombed. It's a scam. Everything's wrong with it. And this year, this was an unsuspecting candidate, just like last year. So I thought it was kind of interesting to see.
I wouldn't have expected Rockstar to take the cake for this one.
Yeah,
and
definitely.
And they did. But it also, I mean, that's what happens like when they're outsourcing to Grove Street Games or whatever. Not that, I mean, I don't know the reputation of Grove Street Games. I know that they did mobile ports for Rockstar games, like I think San Andreas and stuff. So I can understand why they'd go to them. But when this is a remaster or whatever, I think they should handle it in-house because it's Rockstar. How many different like subsidiaries of Rockstar are there? I feel like Rockstar's, I don't know, someone needs to step in and look how they manage their resources because they don't put out that much. They put out online content, and maybe Take-Two's okay with it because they're making the money.
Ton of money, yeah.
Yeah, it's ridiculous. That shouldn't be happening, especially from Rockstar.
Some of the chat's guessing what like 2022 will be. AR Games said that they hope it isn't the new Time Splitters. Yeah, I wonder what it'll be, right? Because with so many big games coming out next year, it's going to be a important title that's just really disappointing, right? Like,
imagine God of War just comes out and it's like the same exact game.
Oh my God. Or it's Starfield. Holy shit.
You know what? I could see Breath of the Wild 2 being that.
Really?
I could see. Yeah, because like Breath of the Wild was good, but if they just release another version of Breath of the Wild, because it's already the same map with more stuff to it, because right, they have to innovate that game. They have to change it up enough because there's so many complaints people had. I don't know if they will.
It'll be interesting. Breath of the Wild 1 got a ton of shit for its frame rate when it first came out, actually, on the original Switch. So I'm wondering.
It was weird though because it was only in one area, and it was the Korok Forest where your Switch just churned.
Yeah,
but it was only that area where I remember. But that was on the Wii U too. Like that game came out on the Wii U, so that you can
cross-gen.
Yeah, they optimized the shit out of it, and it still was laggy at times.
Yeah, and then they had to drop a patch. Hogwarts Legacy is my pick personally. Someone mentioned in chat, Danny Murray did, but like I just
it's gonna fail.
I just have this feeling, man. Like I don't know what it is. I just have this feeling like my pencil is marking down Hogwarts Legacy as your 2022 broken game.
The work morale there has to be horrific. Or you know what I mean? Like with all the negative flack they get.
They went from working on Cars 3 to having their boss fired and all this shit.
Yeah, and like they're probably getting like hate emails from angry fans about J.K. Rowling and stuff.
I also feel like, because with J.K. Rowling, I feel like the press is going to get behind it too and really be motivated to like shit on some Hogwarts Legacy. Like,
guys.
Yeah, this one's going to suck.
Expect IGN, Kotaku, Polygon. Expect some negative flack from this game, okay? Just it's gonna happen.
Yeah,
no matter what.
That's a good candidate too. Mordred the Wise says Pokemon Legends Arceus. That's a really good pick.
That Pokemon Legends Arceus is one of the most vulnerable games I've seen. Like,
yeah, it really is.
Like it's just asking for one bad problem.
Yeah, it really is. It's like this is Game Freak. This is open world. It's not going to be Breath of the Wild. It looks like it's going to be almost Monster Hunter kind of hubs based off what we read in one of our earlier episodes. So that's a really Hogwarts Legacy and Pokemon Legends. Like which one's gonna get? I feel like Nintendo.
Who's getting the axe?
Yeah, I think it's gonna be Hogwarts Legacy. I'm gonna stick with my pick. Yeah,
I think
that's it.
I think Legends Arceus can only be as bad as a typical Pokemon game. So, is Game Freak? This is a dumb question, but is Game Freak doing it, or are they like outsourcing?
Yeah, no, they are. They outsourced the remakes that came out today.
No, I mean for Arceus.
Yeah, are they making Arceus is what you're asking?
Yeah, are they outsourcing for it? Because I know they outsourced Diamond and Pearl, but
I don't. No, they're not. That's by them.
I'm scared because Game Freak, the only other game they've made recently than Pokemon was like Little Town Hero, and we know how that went.
Yeah, that wasn't good.
Yeah. So I don't know, man. Game Freak is they're special. Last good thing I got from them was Sun and Moon or Ultra Sun and Moon. That was a banger.
I got on my list Legends Arceus. I'm gonna put Starfield there because I after 76 you can just never be too sure. Yeah, you just can't ignore it. I'm gonna put
God forbid Starfield just bites dust.
Dude, Starfield. I'd be so disappointed. I'm gonna put Redfall in there. Co-op.
No, Redfall's on there for me too.
Yeah, co-op open world. It's Arcane. Arcane has had some buggy games. I feel like the PC version of that game's all over it. Yeah, like I'm a little worried about that game. So, yeah, there's a good list of like 4.
Bayonetta 3. I don't know.
Yeah.
Elden Ring. Imagine Elden Ring just flops.
Elden Ring has the last gen stink on it. Like Elden Ring's gonna be the game that comes out on next gen and PC that's really good. But that Xbox One and PS4 version, it'd be like, it doesn't exist. It's just there for you to buy and upgrade for free.
Yeah. God, I feel bad for our mutual friend Trex who had to play that on the Xbox One.
Yeah,
that's horrible.
I think he only played it for like 20 minutes too. Like, that fucking bugged me. I gave him a code and he was like, "Yeah, I was tired." I was like, "Dude, fuck you."
Dude, I played like almost every session. That was Elden Ring, man.
Yeah,
that's game of the year. I'm calling it. Like it's got to be.
Yeah, that's got some real contender written all over it.
You got Chocobo Racing GP coming out next year. It's pretty hype.
Yeah. Yeah, that's true. That could be an underrated pick,
dude. I feel like that's going to be an underrated kart racer because I saw VV. If I can race around as VV, like
there's something good there for you.
Just take my money.
I respect it. All right, that's all the news we've got for this week.
We have some call-ins we can do.
Yeah, let's do. I'm thinking this week because we've done all patron write-ins at the end of our show for the last like 2 or 3 weeks. I want to say.
Yeah.
I think we leave these for next week. Next week's a holiday and everything, so we'll just catch up with the patrons then. Let's do some call-ins to wrap up the show.
Okay. All right. Well, I'm gonna bring in Forged Horizons here. It's a mainstay.
Yes.
Love me some Forged.
Of course.
Hello. He's got the Call of Duty Black Ops 2 logo or profile picture, I think. Or Black Ops 1. I can't remember.
It's Black Ops 1, yeah.
Black Ops 1, yeah.
Yeah, love that game.
I was going to go undercover, but then I got lazy. So
Undercover. All right. Well, Forge.
Yeah.
Welcome aboard. Excited to talk to you again, my friend. What do you have on the docket for us today?
Well, first of all, I just want to ask how much the remake for Pearl and Diamond is?
60.
$60. Yeah.
Yeah.
$60.
Yeah.
Jesus.
I bought it today.
Yeah.
I bought it today.
Oof.
What'd you get, Matt?
I
Diamond
got
or
Pearl. I got Pearl. Pearl's what I had when I was a kid.
That's
mean-
good. That's good because I need those exclusives, and I'm getting Diamond, and I don't know.
That's what I was thinking of anyway. So.
I'm not gonna go on another Pokemon tangent. Don't worry.
Okay.
But there is somebody dug into the code, and there's a single line of code that separates the two ROMs.
Mhm.
So
Yeah.
all you would
Saw
need to
that.
do is hack into it, change that, and then you got the other version. Way to
I
save
will
money.
I will say that's sort of like expected because these are basically the same games, and the only difference are the exclusives. But just because there's an exclusive in Pearl doesn't mean you can't pull it over and use it in Diamond, right? That's allowed if you trade. So
Yeah.
I don't know why people were surprised by that. I feel like that if anything, I imagine older Pokemon games might even have that as well. I don't
Oh,
know for sure,
yeah.
but
Definitely.
so I didn't get the buzz behind that.
Yeah. Anyway, Forge, what's your question for us this fine evening?
Well, first of all, I just want to say I agree with you, Maddie. Domino's sucks.
Let's go. Good shit.
By far the worst
I f-
of
I
the
f-
main four.
Good shit.
I know what it's like to feel alone now.
Yeah,
That's right.
you deserve it.
I'm on the mountain. Here we go.
Okay. And then I completely forgot what I was gonna ask, so that's a good
Oh.
start.
That's okay.
That's a first for us. Do you want us to
Yeah.
swap you
Yeah.
out and then bring you back in
Yeah,
when you
swap
remember?
me out for a second.
All right, yeah. Dude, this is sick. All right, let's do that. We'll tag
All
you back in when you're ready. All right.
Yeah, just
All
ping
right.
me on the server and I'll know.
All right.
All right, sounds good. I love that. I love the flexibility here.
We're gonna bring in Extinction Plague. I don't think we spoken to.
Sounds
We'll
new.
find out. Sounds new. Hello.
Hello, Extinction Plague. That's what you said his name is?
Yeah.
All right. Are
Pull up
you
the Discord?
Are you there? I can't because sometimes it shuts down the webcams. Yes, I can hear someone.
Oh, really?
Oh, fantastic. Now I'm in here.
All
Let me
right.
just mute the YouTube that I got with you guys on the podcast. And
course.
it's me, the artist formerly known as Mafat.
Oh,
okay.
I
We have
recognized the
we've been
voice at
reformed.
first. I was
Yeah, it's Ray, right?
Yeah, it's Ray. Yeah.
Yeah, that's me, man. Well, I'm gonna start off by saying I don't agree with you guys on the pizza take. Well, I agree with Kopi that it's not the worst. I think Pizza Hut is like eating greasy, cheesy bread.
It is.
It's
It
like you
is.
might-
Thank you. Thank you.
Like if you have no sauce, then it's not pizza. It's cheesy bread, and you're just not eating pizza. Kind of like Chicago
I'm getting
pizza
real
is too
fucking
much
tired of
sauce.
this shit.
Go get a 20
Yeah,
buck
come on,
Alex, Matt. Get out of here.
And like conversely, if you go to Chicago and you eat, their deep dish pizza, it's also bordering the line of not pizza. You got two different extremes there. But I'm gonna hit you guys with my question now and leave the pizza takes to another time.
let's hear
So I've been reading a couple of articles on what people consider games that kind of changed the industry. Whether it was Pong at some time or Ocarina of Time, Mario 64 with the 3D landscapes and all that. So I want to ask you guys, what games do you guys think changed the landscape in this last generation? What were the games that changed the industry? But I want to give you a caveat here. It doesn't have to
Okay.
be something positive. It could be something negative. It could be a game. It could be
I
a
like
game that was so bad that it made the industry turn on its heels and go, we can't have this happen to us. But I want you guys to give me at least one of each side. Something that was positive that changed the industry and something negative.
So I really like this question because I have a negative, but some people would say it isn't, and it's a positive. Fortnite as a negative for bringing battle passes to the industry. As far as I'm concerned, I haven't seen a battle pass in a game besides Fortnite before Fortnite. So ever since Fortnite became insanely popular, you see those big studios that make the big first-person shooters like Call of Duty. I don't know if Battlefield has one, but I would not be surprised. And now Halo with a battle pass. And another game I play called Genshin Impact, unrelated to first-person shooters, has a battle pass as well. And I really don't like the battle pass formula. And Fortnite has brought that to life. And I'm pissed. So that's a negative example. That I'll let you go and do yours, but then you can bounce back to me for my positive.
Yeah, I think my negative is got to be Call of Duty. I think the making it normal and really sports games too, making it normal to annualize your shit and not going back to the drawing board, rethinking things, and seeing how much you can squeeze out of someone before they kind of react and go, okay, I need something new. Because game development cycles are very long, so they can't be as reactionary as consumers want them to be, where the answer you're looking for might be like 3 years down the line. I just don't like that it's brought so many games that didn't need to be annualized, like, again, Call of Duty. There's a time period where we had Assassin's Creed as an annualized series. Like, there were so many that were coming out year after year, and I feel it did damage because there were again, I look at Assassin's Creed as the worst. It hurt itself the most from it because I think it only got. Now, again, this is me versus a lot of the Ubisoft community that disagree strongly, but I personally feel like it got better, or at least more thoughtful, as they took those multi-year gaps. I looked forward to a release here and there. You know, there were moments like Valhalla dragged on a little bit, Odyssey dragged on a little bit, where I feel those longer dev cycles hurt the game, and it didn't have the charm maybe that Assassin's Creed 2 or Revelations had. I get all of that, right? Each one had their own flavor, but I just feel that the annualization of our industry has never made sense, even in sports games, because the only people it makes sense for are the companies, the shareholders. Like, it does not make sense for any consumer out there.
I agree. That's a really good take.
I got a quick take on the negative side as well with you guys.
Yeah, please.
But I'm kind of torn between two games here, so I want to see if you guys can give me which one of these two was worse. I think No Man's Sky on one end was kind of the whole you promised too much, you gave us the world, and then you received the worst press. That started the whole like review bombing, like when I see on Metacritic.
Yeah.
That kind of changed the way review bombing went online. And then conversely, we have Cyberpunk that kind of did the same thing, although I'm on your side in saying that it was an enjoyable experience. I love the side characters and their stories. But I feel, again, when it was a situation in which they promised too much, weren't able to come out with it, and then forced the release ahead of time when they probably should have sat on it for a little while longer before making that sort of release.
Yeah, I agree, and I'm gonna say No Man's Sky because there's another facet of it that comes to mind, and it's the fact that it creates this idea that you can release a broken game and fix it and make it really good down the line. We're starting to see that trend more and more, and Cyberpunk is another example of that, where it's like really broken. Although Cyberpunk is, I'd say, at its core, bugs aside, a good game. Some games are releasing that aren't even good games, but then they're like, okay, well, it's out, so now we can fix it. We got people's money, and we can give it like a second life. It's almost like releasing two games.
Setting a bad precedent too.
Yes,
Yeah, exactly.
I think that's such a good point. I think I would agree that No Man's Sky is worse because it almost sets this obsession for when a game arrives bad. Everyone, and I'm guilty of it too, you hold your breath for what we all call the No Man's Sky level bounce back. I've said it in videos like a ton of times. Like, people love the comeback story, and I feel like No Man's Sky has had an excellent comeback, but it made people fall in love with it, saying like, look at what it started as and look what it is now, and like, everyone loves it.
Final Fantasy 14 did that too, remember? Like, and that was egregious.
Yeah,
Insane.
Yes, exactly. Like, there's this mindset, I think, that permeates these companies now of just brave the storm, and as long as we get through that, we can win on the other side. It doesn't matter how bad it is that we launch. We need to squeeze the money now because it's the holiday season and we'll fix this thing later. I think Cyberpunk is a continuation of that. Of course, the shareholders really forced that release, but I think that's going to be a game that, and I understand why, because as you both said, and I agree, at the core, I think it's a very good game. And what I played on PC was not nearly as broken as what we've seen to date. I say that honestly. Like, you can look at my review footage. It just was not as feeble as when they did those initial patches that broke the game big time. But you know, it just, to me, I think there's at least something there where people want that bounce back, and I think that all really started with No Man's Sky.
Yeah, I think it kind of makes it tough though too, especially when you consider a company like EA who's been on both sides of that in recent time, because they have Anthem that completely crashed out within the same year that they released it. On Black Friday, they had the sale for $5 on that game.
Yeah,
and that's a game that just didn't bounce back. It didn't have that return. It didn't have the re-release that they were hoping for. But then at the same time, they had Battlefront 2 that made their company lose billions in stock,
Mm-hmm.
and then somehow they were able to bounce back with that game. So
Yeah, and it turned out really good, right? Yeah, it shows that if
yeah,
you
and you
stick with
gotta
it, you can get rewarded.
Right.
yeah, you gotta
Exactly.
wonder what are these companies taking from these experiences and where that's going to lead in the next gen.
Mm-hmm.
But let's hear your guys' positive.
So I've been bouncing a bunch of positives around in my head, and I can't really come to a conclusive one because one of them is almost we haven't yet seen the effects of it for a positive,
Mm.
but I'm gonna run with it anyway, and it's Nier Automata. And it's not so much because of the game's contents, because the game is good, has some like flaws obviously, but what's crazy about it is you got Yoko Taro, like this. I like to call him like a genius because like the philosophy in that game is like nuts. But what's crazy about Nier Automata is like they took a chance with it. You know what I mean? Like and it paid off. Like it's a very zany. Actually, I don't know if zany would be the right word. It's very
Very
when you
different.
play it, you very different, very unique from a lot of games I've played. The gameplay, the core gameplay is pretty similar to a lot of what we've seen, but I'd say the overall story and like playing through the game like 3 times, it's something that you don't see often, and when you do see it, it's really successful. So seeing that success, and we're not really seeing the positive just yet, but you see like now Microsoft is with Obsidian, and they have like these ideas that are kind of like out there, like Josh Sawyer's game, and they're letting Obsidian take that chance because it's innovative, it's new, and it has the chance to pop off. And while I don't think Nier necessarily started that, I'm probably not, maybe a little bit. I mean, we got Replicant after, so I do think that it's good that like one game sort of like that's very different, but it pops off can have studios go like, hey, maybe we should try something different. That's not necessarily do what they're doing, but like experiment on our own. I think it breeds new games, and I like that that's sort of happening, especially with Xbox.
I actually really like that too.
Yeah, I agree. My answer is one that also I don't think we've really seen the effects of either. And I don't know if we ever actually will, but I trust that we eventually will. And that's A Way Out. I think the idea of, and this would carry into, of course, It Takes Two, but these co-op only, you buy one copy, you can give one to a friend, very friendly, approachable game. I just feel like that is something that I can't help but think it's such a goodwill, enjoyable, attractive move to make that like consumers, if you have a good game like It Takes Two, will eat up and it will do very well, which It Takes Two absolutely did. Like I remember when it came out, my girlfriend was showing me TikToks of it. Like it was all over the place. It was getting promoted just because fans really couldn't believe it.
It's my game of the year still.
Yeah.
It's an amazing game. And I think it actually retailed for $40.
It
Am
did.
I right on that?
Yeah, it
That's
retailed for
insane.
cheap. Yeah, and so you were
I would've
effectively
It's off
you
sale
could-
right now for
you-
20.
yeah, you could go halves with a friend and be like, "Yo, I'll throw 20, you throw 20, let's get this game."
It's so worth it.
Yeah.
That game is phenomenal. I hope that when you see like, I know it's being nominated. I think it's being nominated for Game of the Year. I'm not
It
sure.
is. Yep.
Okay. Yeah. So I hope when we see if it gets like other awards and stuff, I don't think it'll win Game of the Year, but if it did, I hope people go and play that game because it does get a lot of attention. And like you said, it was almost like trendy on TikTok. But I want to see it get more attention because this game is really, really good. It is. It's phenomenal, and I hope we do get more co-op experiences, Matt, because like co-op with a good co-op game is just so fun because you could take a bad game and throw a co-op in it, and it's just a little more fun.
Yeah.
You can goof around with your friend.
You can make your own fun with it. So,
Yeah.
it to me just what we've seen from Hazelight, I believe the studio name is.
Haze Life Studio.
Yeah. What we've seen from them, I just feel is kind of unprecedented. And I hope that more companies follow suit because it is a very, very positive thing in our industry. And it shows that like being able to, because like, yeah, exactly. It's pro-consumer. And it shows that being able to share a game can actually lead on a business side to good profits. Like that game did well on sales because definitely people could look at it and say, hey, let's go halves on this and play together. And now it's available in Game Pass, so it's a little different. But it's just really cool to see something like that. So that would be my answer on the positive side.
For me, if I could just chip in real quick. I think Witcher 3 completed what Skyrim started in
Yeah.
creating like densely popular, well, maybe not densely populated, but like as far as objectives and stories that matter in an open world. And that made companies want to create similar worlds. Unfortunately, not everybody's been able to replicate it. But
hard.
they kind of they set a standard. They set a standard to a degree of saying, hey, this is what a game like this looks like, and this is what it should be. But who do you think actually made companies want to start doing more open world games? Was it Skyrim or was it Witcher?
I would say Skyrim.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Because
Skyrim for sure.
open world became like a buzzword. Like, hey, our game's open world. Immediately, people think about Skyrim or other open world games around that time.
Far Cry,
that came
Assassin's
out.
Creed, yeah.
Yeah, like
Or they would advertise as this is 3 times the size of Skyrim's map.
Yes.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, Skyrim was so big that like Bethesda would use it to scale their future games. Like I remember them using like 2 times the size of Skyrim's map or something, or 4 times I want to say with
for
Fallout 4. Yeah.
Yeah. And it's crazy because you're spot on. Like The Witcher 3 took Skyrim, and while it's not the same, I'd say it's almost less of an RPG, even though there's a lot of choice and consequence. You're still playing as Geralt of Rivia, and nothing can change that. In Skyrim, you can play as the Dragonborn or whoever you want.
Yeah.
But what is crazy, as you were saying about The Witcher 3, is it's so dense. There's a lot of quest density, and the quests are very high quality. A lot of voice acting. They're very well done, and there's such a deviation. I remember I was doing a side quest in that game, and I forgot that it wasn't part of the main story. Like The Witcher 3 is like that good with their questing.
Yeah. Ray, it's excellent question, man. We really appreciate it.
Thank you so much for the answer, guys. That was awesome.
Of course. Thank you for tuning in. We look forward to talking to you next, man.
Good night, guys.
Peace out.
Good night.
All right. Great question there.
Forge said he remembered what his question
He
was.
remembered?
I'm
All
gonna
right.
bring him in.
Yeah, pull him back in.
Proxidova, if you're listening, we're bringing you in right after. Don't worry, we're not leaving you hanging.
That's a good idea. Yeah, let him know.
Yeah, he's been in there like the whole time.
All right, cool.
Hello, Forged.
Oh, okay. There we go.
All right. Question prepared.
Yeah, let's hear it.
Aired.
All right, cool.
Surprised y'all didn't talk about the Game Awards.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I know. That
Yeah,
was a good
true.
topic that flew over our heads.
Yeah, but my question is more specific to the best RPG and best soundtrack category.
Okay.
And if you've looked at the list, you might know where I'm going.
I'm gonna pull it up real quick, but
I might know where you're going based off one of the nominations, but let's hear it.
So, some people on certain platforms have been getting very upset over a certain game being nominated.
For RPG or
Game-
soundtrack?
Both.
Okay.
Okay.
That game is Cyberpunk 2077.
Yep.
Now, I had an amazing experience with my first playthrough, which was at launch. I played it on PC. I got through the game with like no bugs and literally 0 crashes. So
Right.
I got peak performance Cyberpunk, but I love that game. It is like it has its problems for sure, but I do like it. But do y'all think that after everything that happened with Cyberpunk, all of the controversy, it deserves to be nominated in either of those categories? Soundtrack, I kind of got a little bit pissy at people saying it didn't deserve it because it's just like, have you listened to Cyberpunk soundtrack?
Yeah,
it's so good.
That isn't related to any of the controversies. The people,
The music worked. Yeah.
The music
it
was
very
amazing.
much did.
But under best RPG, do y'all think that it, quote unquote, deserves to be allowed in there?
Yes. I'm just based on. I mean, I'm on the Game Awards site right now. The description is for the best game designed with rich player character customization and progression, including massively multiplayer experiences. That doesn't apply to Cyberpunk, but that description alone is Cyberpunk. You're V. You can be really creative, as we've seen with how you can customize your character. And yeah, there's good progression in that game. So I think it absolutely deserves to be there because just because it got bad PR the journalists journalism didn't take that game lightly. A lot of people didn't take that game lightly because of all the bugs. Doesn't mean it's a bad game beneath it. And that's not to say like bugs don't matter. They do, and it can absolutely detriment a game. But Cyberpunk itself was a good game, and I think most people agree on that. Maybe not everybody, but I don't know why people are mad that it's here. I mean, they need to. I was like you. I played on PS5. I had a few crashes. I'd say maybe 3 or 4, and a few bugs. But I had more bugs with the Deathloop. I had more problems playing Deathloop this year than I did when I played Cyberpunk when it came out. So I think Cyberpunk suffered from like that vitriol hate that like sometimes a game gets like every year. We were just talking about that, right?
Sure.
And I think it deserves to be there, in my opinion.
Yeah, I really, really, really liked Cyberpunk when I played it. And I know I still get flack for it. I think I read on my Elden Ring preview, like someone was trying to fucking grill me for it. Like it's one of those reviews that even though I'm very authentic with my opinions, it's going to follow me just because people like to harp on things. And it's like what I played at launch during the review period, I can honestly say was buggy, which was noted in that review, but was it was way worse post-patch. I said this before to people. Look at Assassin's Creed. Their games were fine, and they came out, they patched them, they fucking broke them, man. Like making games is like a Jenga tower. So what I played was, by the way, not a bug-free version by any means, but it was way less buggy than what I had experienced and saw after launch with those patches. And so for me, with my experience, I was like, yeah, definitely. I think it is a top RPG. Look at role-playing games in 2021. It's mostly vacant. In all fairness, though, I will say that there is the talk of this game got delisted. That's the thing. It's a very neutral answer for me because this game got delisted. It was that broken and bad that like console owners, or rather companies, literally went to their storefronts and said, we would rather not sell this right now.
My only contention with that is if there wasn't so much, I think like mob mentality behind it, it wouldn't have been delisted.
Yeah, I get that, but I don't even know if there was pressure to. I could be wrong on this because
I think there was because people were asking Sony for for refunds. Like they went to Sony, because people bought it on PS4 and expected it to be good. And then a bunch of people flooded Sony chat and they asked for refunds. And that's like, okay, we're going to take it off the store so we don't have to deal with that.
Yes.
If that didn't happen, I don't think it would have been delisted. And I do get that that's bad. But Cyberpunk's popularity, like Cyberpunk 2077 was a buggy game, but it wasn't the most broken game ever. And its popularity is what made it delist because like the bugs, so many people witnessed those bugs and so many people bought the game and didn't really look into like, oh, I'm playing this on PS4. This is going to perform like dog shit. I'm pretty sure also it got delisted mainly because of the performance on PS4, not necessarily bugs. And I know they sort of go hand in hand, but like if you remember the performance on PlayStation 4,
awful.
Like 15 FPS.
Horrible.
Yeah, it was bad.
Yeah, people looked muddy and gross.
Yeah.
It was really bad.
Exactly, which leads me to the conclusion of my thought is if we are looking at it standalone, by the way, and this I know sounds like they can't go hand or they should go hand in hand, but I'm just saying standalone, system-wise, mechanics, builds. I think the life paths were underwhelming. I thought some of the choices in dialogue were very flavored-based. They were not true skill checks. I broke all of that down in a video. I thought that was disappointing in my review. I noted it. But if we're looking at it from build and level design-wise, I actually think Cyberpunk deserves to be on this list. But I think when you look at the competition in the last year, it really hasn't been a significant role-playing game. We've had a lot of JRPGs, so could you have thrown Scarlet Nexus in there instead?
It's on there.
Is it on there? I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Then I'm trying to think of a number of games that could have cracked that list. East 9, I don't know. Like, there are a lot of JRPGs that maybe could have broken through instead. And the only reason I think that might have been good to see is because I don't want this to become a situation where, again, we were just talking about the negatives, the repercussions for years to come of the bounce back. I don't need it to become this thing, and I don't think we all want it to become, where, hey, you released this pretty broken game on multiple consoles, and you're still going to get awards for it. Something just very off about that to me, where it's like, again, this is coming from someone who fucking loved the game. Like, I thought it was great. But when your game is that broken that we're seeing console storefronts saying, you know what, you got to go down. And I know, Paul, you thought so, but from what I, as someone on the inside, was looking at it, I didn't even see people really pressuring the storefronts to take it down. Like, it was a far-fetched idea. But they took the initiative on it, and then Xbox
I think they were
followed suit,
pressuring them.
So
like their voice and saying like, "Hey, we want this refunded," was like pressure.
I think the refunds got so overbearing, it was better for them to not sell it, which again speaks to the idea of, I don't think for our flagship award show it should be there, because we're talking about a game that, even while at its heart it is, I think, good, it didn't release that way. It was one of the greatest tragedies of the industry and a significant downfall for a very popular developer. That should not be celebrated. That's the slap on the wrist you get. Sorry, you don't fucking qualify. Hate to tell you. But it also just speaks, again, this would not be here if that RPG genre, which it usually isn't, wasn't shockingly barren this last year. But I'm of the mindset, this committee knows what they're doing, and they know that the snubs and the weird picks, I think they're well aware of the conversations they generate and the amount of eyes that turn to their show because of it. I'm not saying people disregard their own morals and make Game of the Year picks because they want to piss people off, but I do think that when the committee gets involved, they know the PR buzz that happens with snubs and weird picks like this, for sure.
Yeah, I think so. Oftentimes, like, some of the answers are obvious to people, and that's why, like, they put the weird picks in there, like you're saying. But I also think that laying down that precedent, it's a good point you brought up, Matt. Laying down that precedent, like, hey, you can release a broken game and still get widely celebrated for it, is bad to do.
Yeah,
like, it should almost not be reinforced in that way.
And I'm saying, and this isn't, not to interrupt you, but I just want to say, because I understand some people watch my channel, I'm not saying this to cover my own ass when I say, like, we're talking a year out from this game's release at that point, right? By the point the Game Awards come around, I understand, like I said, it was one of the greatest games or one of the greatest RPGs of that generation. I still absolutely believe that. If anyone wants to talk about it, I'm more than down to explain why I think so. But when you have a year to see the aftermath of Cyberpunk and see how it changes after its very first day one patch, we've had enough time to watch, learn, and discuss that personally. And where I feel like this can't just be an oversight after a certain amount of time.
Yeah, I agree with that. As for the soundtrack, I was kind of disappointed with some of the soundtracks that they picked, because one of my favorite games of this year was Chicory, and a lot of people didn't play it because it was an indie game, but it wasn't there, and it had such a banger soundtrack. It was so good. I'm trying to find the soundtrack on here.
Yeah, if this was one of the first years where I was just like, I don't care. And the reason I say that is not because I don't care about the Game Awards, but this year to me was so boring for a launch year for games. Like, there was nothing that called my name strongly. Like, next year I got a ton of titles that are doing that, but this year there's some fun little games I've picked up. Like, on a normal year, like, I'm not picking up Pokemon Pearl, but I was like, fuck it. Like, what else is there to play right now? Like, okay, I'll get it.
Right.
So it's just been a really slow year. I think that's why they're ramping up the announcements for the award show, saying, like, we got double the announcements of last year. It's because, there's who the fuck cares about the awards this year? There was some good games, but to me, the only real, and we all have that one game this year. To me, it was Hitman 3. It was like, this is like a cut above the rest. But otherwise, it's like, this is cool, I guess. So,
yeah, my interest was lost when I saw Deathloop on Game of the Year.
Yeah,
because like I said, I had more bugs in that game than I did in Cyberpunk, and I know not everybody had that experience, but to say it wasn't buggy is lying, frankly. And I saw so many reviews not mention the bugs and still give the game 9 out of 10s.
Yes,
and that's like, to me, that's like doing your job poorly.
I also think Guardians of the Galaxy got snubbed pretty hard. William Stanley mentioned in chat, and that was Forza got snubbed big time. Forza I kind of saw coming, but like Guardians of the Galaxy to me was the one that I thought could sneak in there. I thought it could, but I think it just released too late. Not enough people finished it in time.
Yeah, it's unfortunate, but at the end of the day, people have to recognize that the Game Awards aren't indicative of the whole, right? It's one show. There's a bunch of Game of the Year shows, and this just happens to be the one people flock to because Jeff Keighley is Jeff Keighley.
Yep, absolutely. Well, Forge, it's been great talking to you. Is there anything you wanted to add in before we move on to our next caller?
One last thing.
Sure.
Okay. So, it's a bet.
Oh.
I'm willing to put $50 down that Metroid Dread gets Game of the Year at Game Awards.
Who are you betting with?
Huh.
I don't know. Whoever takes it.
All right. That's up to the
Whether
Patreon
it's
Discord.
somebody on the server.
Yeah, someone on the
don't
server
care.
will 100% bet you, I guarantee.
I will. Whoever takes that bet, the opposite side of the bet is literally any other game. Literally anything else.
So you're really confident in that one.
I am literally 100% confident that
You're
Metroid
gonna be
Dread
out.
is going to win Game of the Year.
You're gonna be $50 out when Deathloop wins, because I'm telling you.
I'm a big
watch out.
Arcane fan, but
I'm not.
I know.
I mean,
I
I
know the
am.
Nintendo pull. So if you see a Nintendo game in Game of the Year list, 100
Yeah,
out of
that's
100 times it's
true.
gotten Game of the Year. So
I feel
that's
like
my bet.
yeah, no, I get you. I feel like Deathloop's the one that like I'll be fucking stunned if Deathloop doesn't win with the amount of people who are like it's the template that future games are gonna mimic. Like
Yeah, dude, that's
so
such
much
bullshit.
like far-reaching
So-
bullshit that I was like, okay,
dude.
that shit better win then.
Yeah.
All right. Well, hopefully someone
Grim
takes
already
your
hit me up, so-
someone takes your bet, Forge. Best of luck in that, and we look forward to seeing the results, of course, come the Game Awards.
All right. Well, I've already got a bet taken. So
Excellent.
Oh,
Best of luck to you then.
we're already
good
good.
luck making your money.
Yeah.
All right. We'll see.
All right, Forge. Take care, man. Great talking to you.
Yep. See ya. Bye.
That's it.
All right. We got one more.
We promised Proxidova I'd bring them in,
Okay.
and we're gonna bring them in.
Proxidova.
Hello.
Hello. Do you think they were listening that whole time? Do you think they know we were
I
going to pull
hope-
Proxidova in?
I hope so, because they haven't left. We'll find out if they undeafen in about. We'll give them. We're at the end of the show. I think
Yeah.
seconds.
It's either Proxidova or conclusion.
Or
Proxidova has a
Yeah.
choice on whether or not this stretches on a couple more minutes.
you can be the encore to Ham Live if you just say something.
Yeah. Imagine, here's the thing. I always
Yeah.
wonder about this type of stuff, right? Like, what is Proxidova up to right now? And then if Proxidova were to listen to our show later on, which I imagine they would be because, you know, if you're trying to participate,
Right. yeah.
that moment where it's like, oh, fuck, they were there trying to speak to me. Like, natural
fell
calamities
asleep.
had a lot. Yeah, and they're like, fuck, I completely missed out.
Let's go. We got the unmute from Proxidova.
Okay.
Hello.
Hello?
Are you guys able to hear me?
Yes?
Yeah. Hey.
Okay. Something's going on with my computer, so I'm gonna have to. I'm not able to hear you through my headset, so I'm sorry if it echoes.
Okay.
Um,
we haven't heard an echo yet, so you're good right now.
Yeah, that's good.
Okay. I wasn't planning to come back in so soon, like I had said, but since the
Mhm.
backwards compatibility thing ended,
Oh, yeah.
I guess my question came up a lot sooner. So I know you guys aren't too big on the Mortal Kombat franchise.
Mhm.
But I know you guys always want like NetherRealm to be bought from Microsoft, and
Famously.
Uh,
yes.
I don't hear too much chatter about this, but I believe NetherRealm could maybe do something like how this what was the studio that made Horizon Zero Dawn?
Guerrilla Games.
Yeah, I think NetherRealm Studios, if they were given the budget to make whatever they want, they would probably do something outside of a fighter. Because if you guys don't know, do you guys know about the game Mortal Kombat Shaolin Monks?
Yes.
Oh, yeah. Is that the one with the mini games? Or was that Armageddon? Okay, was
That's
it?
Armageddon. Oh no.
Armageddon and Deception were the ones with the minigames, but Shaolin
Yeah.
Monks was a spin-off that they made. And it sucks that we'll probably never get another game as long as they're under like WB, because WB counts on them making the main Mortal Kombat games, and Activision said like
Right.
we can't because Warner Brothers
Yeah.
won't let us.
Yeah.
Right.
Mortal Kombat Shaolin Monks was a 2-player co-op game with Liu Kang and Kung Lao, and
I don't know. So,
best-
sorry, keep going. Sorry, I
No,
didn't mean to cut you off. Go on.
No, go ahead. Go ahead.
I was gonna say, so I was wondering when you were thinking about other games from NetherRealm, beyond their fighters, like what would you want to see them do? Because they do like these really good cinematic stories, right? And I always would love to see them do that. But Because like we've seen the transition successfully happen, like you mentioned with Guerrilla Games. What would be your ideal like NetherRealm transformative game?
Oh, honestly, my opinion would hope for them. Okay, so could either do something like Metroid Dread, which is because they have a canceled game which was the sequel to Shaolin Monks called Mortal Kombat Fire and Ice, which is supposed to be and Scorpion. And
It's supposed to be like a Metroidvania?
Oh no! I'm saying it's like a game that was planned but got canceled.
Oh, okay.
But it's called there's footage out there of like concept art of like that could have been. It never came to be. And what sucks is that like okay, well, let me talk to you more about the Shaolin Monks because of
Sure.
like why this game is important. So like,
sure, go for
it. They took the ending of Mortal Kombat 1 and then the entirety of Mortal Kombat 2. They took all their stages and then connected them and put them like a Disneyland, quote unquote. Like you can go there, travel to the stages.
That's cool.
3D, and the fact you get to walk around all this stuff, and it's cool because a lot of the things that people were wondering, like, what are those glowing eyes in Goro's lair? And then monks, you got to see them as enemies, as Oni, and it's like, oh my god, like they added so much to this game. It's a love letter to the whole Mortal Kombat franchise is one game, and put tons of secrets in them. One of them was actually like secret that wasn't discovered till like 3 years later because it wasn't meant to be found, but it was like a survivor area, and in order to find it, they had to like hit these barrels in a certain order, and it unlocked a thing to teleport you there. It's funny because of that, like on the Xbox version, game soft locks.
Oh, really?
There. So also only on the PS2 version, that Survivor Arena. So not a lot of people know that, but the PS2 technically is a better version.
But, I think I own. It might be. I don't know which Mortal Kombat. I own one on PS2 that I bought at PAX East in 2020, before the whole world closed down. I'm trying to remember which one it was, but that's irrelevant right now. Continue, please.
Yeah. That was like the one game where able to make something that wasn't a fighter, but even though in the game they still had a versus mode that was just in 3D, which was pretty cool, and it had like its own like experience system. You could level up, get new moves and all that. But what sucks is that they kind of did it again when MK9 out with the crypt, when they try to do like, hey, here's this crypt. Then they did it again to MKX with the cooler crypt. MK11 broke my heart because when I saw the crypt, I stayed away from spoilers on how the crypt was. Now, I know I heard you last week say you weren't a fan of the mechanics of how the crypt worked, but that's not what I mean. It's because they put a lot of time to recreate again, like the stages from Mortal Kombat games and put it in the crypt. And I'm like, they could have made another game, like Shaolin Monks, something like that. And it's just like, it hurts because, like I said, like you can't with development times, you can't just be wasting time like that. Because you just got to move on to the project,
especially with games nowadays.
Yeah, and it's like if Microsoft just like yanked them, I'm sure they could be like, all right, what do you guys want to work on? All right, we've been wanting to do this for years. Can we please do this?
Yeah, I feel you. That's an interesting perspective on the crypt. I actually had never thought of that. How that could be kind of torturous for Shaolin Monk fans specifically. That's what happens with these AAA games. They just try to do too many different things at once and like capture this experience that you feel like, this reminds me of Shaolin Monks. This reminds me of MK9. This reminds me of that, like, you know what I mean? So it's funny that you bring that up specifically.
I didn't know you were a fan of, or you didn't like the crypt, Matt. I love the crypt.
I like the crypt in like MK9 and I didn't play 10 enough to really have an opinion on it, but like MK11's crypt was to me, I remember they like really had the progress at a weird point where it was pretty microtransaction loaded and yeah.
It was very grindy. I had to buy a turbo controller just to leave my AI farm currency for me.
Yeah.
It was pretty bad. But like development wise, the areas were really heartbreaking to a lot of us because it's like this could have been a game. This could easily just move this, turn this into levels. I don't know. Like that's like Mortal Kombat fans' dreams, or if they make a sequel, that's our Metroid Dread for us. Like I was saying, if that ever comes.
Gotcha. Okay, I get the connection now. Okay, I got you now.
Because it's there, it's been talked about. And Bad Boon has just countless times he said we want to do it. They just
fingers
won't let
crossed.
us.
Then fingers crossed. Then I hope they eventually do. Certainly, they have enough sway now where they could maybe try to work something out.
Yeah, when the backpack list came up, I saw Mortal Kombat. I was scared to keep reading because there was 2 games, and it was Mortal Kombat 9, and it was MK versus DC. And I was like,
yeah,
this was your last chance to get this port over.
Yeah.
Now I think it's ruined now because now we gotta wait for like a proper remake.
Right.
Yeah, shout out to anyone who knows about this game.
Absolutely.
It'd be cool if Cog knew about it, but I don't know. I mean, he's the only MK fan that I know of.
Yeah, I think he would. I don't know if you write in for Defining Duke, but because I know you said you listened to it, but you should definitely write in about it. I'll pick you up on that and see what he thinks.
Okay, all right, I appreciate it, guys. That's probably about it. This
Awesome.
time I'm not freaked out. I actually calmed down.
Nah, dude, you're good.
Being in the chat for a bit helped out a lot because, like I said last time, I was literally like just sat out of my seat and you guys pulled me in, so I was not ready.
Apologies if that surprised you at all. We can always drop you in last if that helps you at all. But yeah, we don't want you to feel uncomfortable or nervous at all. We're just happy to talk to you and anyone else who tunes in.
No, it's fine because it's an experience for me, and whether or not I feel uncomfortable, I still I get to talk about it. You know.
Absolutely, dude. Totally get that.
That's what it's all about.
Yeah, and we're happy to join you in that. So thank you so much for calling in. It was great talking to you again.
Yeah.
See you guys later then.
All right, take care.
See ya.
All right.
Awesome.
Excellent. So we're just passing the 3-hour mark there. Paul looks like he's about to pass out. I'm starving.
I had to take my glasses off because my head hurts.
Yeah,
no, I'm hungry.
Yeah, I'm starving. So we thank everyone who's tuned in for this behemoth of a show. We appreciate you, Paul. Great work this week. You did excellent. And
public praise. This is rare, guys.
I was about to say I'm putting on my good PR face right now for when I don't pay you. So any final thoughts, Paul, or shall we wrap this one up?
No, I think this is we did it. We got to the end of the show.
We did. For those who are celebrating, have a happy Thanksgiving and enjoy your food, eat plenty. For those of you who are having a totally normal Thursday, enjoy that, and we'll catch you on Friday with our next episode of Ham Radio Live. That'll be episode 10, as always, live on youtube.com/MrMattyPlays at 6 p.m. Eastern time. So please do take good care of yourselves, and I'll talk with all of you alongside Paul very shortly, all right? Peace out.
Bye, guys.